Hi, everyone. This is Camille Herron. Welcome to the Cultra Trail Running Podcast, episode number 362.
From the belly of the Beast Coast, Glastonbury, Connecticut, this is the Cultra Trail Running Podcast. We talk about all the fun shit that happens on the trails that most normal people don't care about. The language we use is f***ing explicit and raw like the trails we run on. So don't listen with your kids! Cultra is brought to you by our patrons and supporters, and we are 112% listener supported, and support is good.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Cultra Trail Running Podcast. I'm your host, Art Byram, and I am joined by a member of the Cultra crew. I have Anna G. Welcome, Anna.
Hi there. Hey, everybody.
How you doing today, Anna?
Very good.
Yeah. Are you excited for our guest?
Very much so. Looking forward to it.
So everybody who listened to the lovely intro that Camille did can, spoiler alert, knows who we're having today. So if you guys have followed ultra running at all, you already know the resume: world records, national championships, 6-day performances. All these almost seem impossible, and an approach to training that's a little bit different than traditional. But at Cultra, we're less interested in reading a list of accomplishments and all those kind of details, that a lot of other boring podcasts are interested in. What we really want to know is learning how Camille thinks and how we relate to her as a person. We'll probably also talk a little bit about training for Vermont 100, sports science, ADHD, which is a major topic for me, mindset, and what it's like to be in the really fast shoes of Camille Herron. So Camille, thank you so much for joining us, and we're really glad that you're here.
Yeah, it's glad to finally connect with you, and not only connect with you here, but I connected with you in person. It was super cool to meet you and to race on the East Coast for, I think that was, I said that was my first time. It was actually my second time racing on the East Coast because I forgot about racing the JFK 50 miler back in 2020. So that was technically my second trail race on the East Coast and my first time running 100 miles on the East Coast. So it was awesome.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Yeah, we definitely want to talk about Vermont and your experience there. But I think that I want to have, we kind of want to learn how you got there to start with. And I think Anna has some questions, but before any of that, I have one question for you. So your first name's not actually Camille, it's actually Jacqueline, right?
Yeah.
So why do you go by Camille and not Jacqueline, or how, tell us what's the scoop there?
Yeah. So when I was born, I had two older sisters, and my sister Jane was 20. She's born 21 months before me, and so she was little. And so it was easier for my sisters to call me Camille or Mill instead of Jacqueline. Jacqueline's a bit of a mouthful, especially for a 21-month-old sister. So
Sure.
I've never been called by my first name except, I guess like going to a doctor or something. But yeah, I've always gone by Camille, or my siblings and family members sometimes call me Mill or Millie. And yeah, I mean, I do respond. I actually really like my first name, Jacqueline. I have responded. I like Jacqueline Camille. Like, that's really cool. So
excellent. So, well, welcome, Jackie. Glad to have you here.
I thought about reinventing myself as an adult. I was like, should I start going by Jacqueline or Jackie? But no, I mean, I like Camille. Either name's fine. I love it though when people point it out. So thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all. Anna, you want to get us started?
Yeah. And I'll just say one thing, which is with the name Anna, I've never faced any kind of nickname or name confusion. And I sort of envy people who have the ability to maybe go by two different names.
Wow.
It's just, there's nothing. Anna is Anna. There's nothing shorted or Art. I mean, I don't know if Art, you're Arthur or what. But
I've been Art, Arthur, Art. I was all my up till 8th grade. I was Artie.
Uh,
So all my old
That's so
friends will call
cute.
me, Artie. So, and
Yeah.
then at Cultra, it's AFB. So,
right.
you get a
Right.
little bit of
I'm not,
everything.
yeah, I'm not saying I want to have a nickname. I just note that some people have this throughout their life and other people do not.
Okay.
Um,
Thanks, Annabelle. Thanks, Annabelle.
I think it's cute though, like when my siblings call me Mill, like they still have like other names and
yeah.
but so I have been called Jackie. Like people have referred to me as Jackie and I mean I'll respond to that. I love it when I find somebody else that is either Jacqueline or Camille. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I feel like it maybe brings up for a person with multiple names, just like different sides of themselves, right? Like the people who call
Yeah,
you Mill,
like
you associate that name
a
calling with,
family.
with something specific and all that. Um,
Yeah.
so speaking about family, I was going to ask you about, how when your family, you mentioned you have
Yeah.
two older sisters and, we just like to kind of get to know how you all started and how that has made you who you are today. So, maybe you can just talk a little bit about your childhood, your family structure, sort of your role in your family. Like, who are you? What was your identity in your family? And, the things you loved as a kid. And you can even discuss if they, if what you loved as a kid is what you love now, or maybe transformative moments in your life, in your childhood.
Totally, totally. I love talking about my family. They're pretty awesome. So I am the third girl. I have two older sisters. I don't know what they say about the third girl. I feel like each of us was like our own person and our own interests and my parents are very positive, encouraging people, and that really supported us in everything that we took an interest in. But yeah, being the third girl, I mean, I looked up to my two older sisters, and my sister Jane, who's 21 months older than me. I was really shy as a girl. I had delayed speech development. And my sister Jane would talk for me. And I would like hide behind our mom. Like people would come over to the house, I'd be hiding behind our mom. And Jane, people would ask like what's her name? And Jane would be like, her name's Camilla. And I just smile with my big smile. So I communicated with my smile and my joy, and I'm just a really happy, very happy kid. And yeah, I mean, we just thought I was really shy and I'm really happy, positive. My parents are very positive people. Um, and um, and yeah, my two older sisters, my sister Julie is 10 years older than me. So she was a teenager in the 80s, watching MTV, listening to Madonna and Prince and Beastie Boys and Tone Loc. Her music interests like really influenced me as a girl. And I mean, she was always like dancing and listening to music. And so my music interests are really like very centered on like mid 80s, late 80s. And even like dancing, I was always dancing as a girl because of Julie. And yeah, so I was a very happy, smiley kid girl, two older sisters. And then when I started school, I was super shy. And I didn't like, I was so confused when I started school. And in my mind, I was like, well, I really struggled to talk. And so I would just be like really happy and kind to the other kids because I was like, well, they'll like me. I was always helping our mom around the house and doing chores, doing things to make my family happy. I entertained my family with like I was very athletic and musically gifted and I was always like entertaining my family because I couldn't talk so I would just like entertain them but when I started school in my mind I just was like okay my parents were like oh just be yourself and just like my smile and I was just like always like helping the other kids and being like really kind and like all my classmates really liked me because I was just like a happy, positive, like bright kid. Um, but yeah, my teacher told my parents, she's like, she's like, there's something like different about me. And they ended up sending me to a speech pathologist, and they ended up testing my hearing. And I ended up being diagnosed with a central auditory processing disorder. And they found out I didn't have all my hearing. And I remember the chain of events because I remember being there, and I remember was it the audiologist like tested my hearing, and he said my name or something. I think it said like Jacqueline or something, and like I didn't respond, and it was because I didn't have all of my hearing. And yeah, and then they realized, okay, they diagnosed me with a central auditory processing disorder. Well, I didn't realize that not only did I took speech pathology until I was not from ages of 5 to 9 to learn how to talk. And it wasn't until I was like 6 or 7 that I was really like started speaking. And going into first grade, I had a really awesome teacher that was really positive and supportive. And
Mm.
so between her and my speech pathologist, I really, really appreciated them and their encouragement. And I really started to shine in school, and with my reading. And yeah, I didn't realize that like through all these years of my childhood, that 2 years ago I found out I was late diagnosed as autistic ADHD. And so I didn't know this as a kid. That I not only was I had this central auditory processing disorder, but I was having to go through my entire education, being autistic ADHD and not being supported for those disabilities. But I also had my IQ tested, and I have a very high IQ. So I was put into the gifted program. So I was both gifted and I took speech therapy with my speech pathologist. So, and I didn't learn until a couple years ago that having a disability and being gifted is what you call being twice exceptional. So my brain, I always joked as a girl, and growing up in the 80s and 90s, I grew up with like the Care Bears and Rainbow Bright and like Rainbow, reading Rainbow. And I always joked that it felt like my brain was full of rainbows.
Gotcha. Could
So
could I
yeah,
interrupt here for a second? Because
yeah, go for
I
it.
want to make sure that this doesn't get um lost, because it's to me it's very close to my experience as well, except that I had some other things going on as well. So I tested gifted and talented
Yeah.
as a child, and was put into special, gifted and talented programs. But then in order to stay in those programs, you had to maintain a good um, good grades, and I couldn't do that. I
Uh,
was not I was not able to maintain those grades because I couldn't I couldn't deal with
Concentrate.
the classroom stuff. So
Yep.
if you were ADHD, what sort of ADHD symptoms did you have as a child, or do you
Yeah.
did you have those symptoms?
Totally. Yeah, so I literally think that my giftedness and my autism like masked my ADHD because I was really smart and I was very regimented. And I think like I would just like push myself constantly, to the point where my mom remembers there were times where I was really overwhelmed. And it was it was the ADHD part. I was not, my disabilities weren't being supported. I could hyper focus. You probably can hyper focus
Mm-hmm.
really well, like on
Yeah.
special interests. And my special, I was anything that I like grabbed a hold of in school academically, I would hyper focus. I was very regimented. I'd push myself to the extreme. And I think like the whole like pushing myself to the extreme is like that's like the autism part of me. But then I would
Interesting. Yeah.
but then I would get like I would break down at some I would push myself too hard to the point where I would get like fatigued and exhausted and be crying, and my mom would be like, "Oh, we need to
Yeah.
we need to
Because
cut back."
tell me if this sounds familiar. Like my hyper focusing often starts out with these massive leaps and bounds in creativity.
Oh,
And
for
then I'm
sure.
like, wow, this is
Super
such a great
creative.
idea. I bet there's a really cool concept here. And that gets me about 70% of the way there. And then in a short period of time, like in an hour or two, I can get to the 95% or the 90, whatever percent you want to call
Yeah.
it. But then I tack a whole bunch of hours on after that. And then I kind of talk myself out of the whole idea because I keep driving down that rabbit hole and there's like no more rabbits in that rabbit hole. There's no more place to take the rabbit hole because you're just up against cement. And I'm like, there's got to be a way through this. And then that little detail locks me up and I feel like I'm not able to harvest the efforts of the hyper focus,
Yeah, I feel like I get distracted. I'm both like the combined type ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I hyper focus to the point of fatigue or I get distracted and then I forget what I have like on my computer I have like 30 tabs open and
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
like I'm working on
easily.
like a lot of different things. And it's really cool when I get things like accomplished and I mean I achieve like amazing things, but then I forget like something I was working on because I got, it's like the
Yeah,
squirrel, like.
yes, you write the paper, but you forget to hand it in. You know
Yeah, I'm
that because I'm
super,
like, I did this. I'm on to the next thing, and I
yeah.
didn't quite hand it in.
Yeah, I mean it's like a constant every single day. And there's like little quirks about myself that my husband and I point out and joke about. And I mean like over the years we were always like, "Oh, you're probably autistic." And but I didn't really know what autism was until like I think it was like 2 years ago. Well, I did my 6 day race 2.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like just reflecting back on the entire experience, I mean, it was so obvious where and people are confused like how I can have sensory sensitivities and but then also I thrive on sensory stimulation. Like I love people, I love social things, I love dancing, I love bright lights, I go to concerts. I that the way that I describe it is that I have a limited social battery.
Mm-hmm.
So like and my husband knows this. He knows when we go to races and events that he knows he has to pull me away from talking to people because otherwise I'll talk your head off and then I'll be like exhausted before the race because I like talked and took pictures with
Sure,
everybody. And even
sure.
like, I saw you at Vermont and I mean, I get really like amped up and hyped up from the crowds. I mean, I really thrive on that. But if you're doing that for like 24 hours on a small loop at the 24-hour World Championship, I get exhausted and
Oh yeah.
I literally hit a point where I just like need to lay down or like get away. When I set my 24-hour world record back in 2019, I mean, I was loving the crowds at first, like the first like six to
So,
eight hours. Yeah.
yeah. So I want to and I want to talk about that a little bit too. So um because I can definitely relate to that. But I also wonder because I know that like um if I spend that much time and get too excited about things, then you're right. I crash too. And if I do
Yeah.
that in a long race, I hallucinate. So if I give any quarter to or any credence to any of the hallucinations that I see, because I for me it's kind of fun in the beginning where I'm like, oh hey, that kind of looked like an elf over there or a tree with a face in it, or that kind of looked like this. And if I start to like encourage that stuff, it keeps going and it keeps building. And then all of a sudden I have a hard mental breakdown because now I've encouraged those things and I've lost the ability to move the tide the other way and to keep my shit together.
That
So
that
I,
totally makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder though, and I know there are other people because part of it is just like the mental toughness. I seem unable sometimes to control that, like going exploring a rabbit hole and doing all those things, that hyper
Yeah.
focusing, there's sometimes when I'm like, I have so many important things to do. I don't need to know where Camille got her I love tacos hat. And if it comes in an extra large size, and if it, if I could get it delivered by this day, like I don't need to know these things, but I
But you're
can't
picking up.
I can't help myself. And in the middle of it, I know I have to stop this, and it's like obsessive and compulsive.
It's like your
So
brain.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
so
like
it's
a
kind.
was a bunch of like string strung in your brain, and it's all like tangled up, and you're having all these like thoughts like kind of going everywhere. And
Yeah.
I laugh like my brain literally feels like all these like, and even as a kid I was explaining it, it's like I feel like I have all these like strings in my brain, but the strings in my brain are colorful like rainbows like everywhere.
Yes.
And even like as a kid, I had and this is I definitely have the autism traits. I used to take like my stuffed animals or my toys, and I would like systematically line them up into rainbow or like create a
Mm,
rainbow. And in my mind, like that was creating like order. And I didn't even like really play with my toys. It was more about like organizing my toys, and
mm.
like my room would just be filled with like rainbows of like organizing my toys and my stuffed animals. And even as an adult, like throughout, I would take my shoes and like create a rainbow on the floor because I like got joy out of that.
Yes.
And my
Yeah. The
husband
order.
didn't understand that. He's like, "Why did you do that?" And I get like clothes from my sponsors, and I would like turn it into a rainbow because I would see all the color. And my husband's just kind of looking at me like, "Why did you do that?" It's like,
Understood. So
There's definitely a trend with books these days where people are organizing their bookshelves by
oh,
colors. I
oh,
think it's less of a
absolutely.
joy thing and more of a for the people I'm thinking of, and more of a like order, like they need it to be orderly looking,
Yeah.
and that they can do that by colors, but I
Oh
see that.
yeah.
huh.
I even like spreadsheets. Like I open spreadsheets and I color code my spreadsheets. I play with data and stats for fun. I just have like ideas and I put data into spreadsheets and then color code it. And it's so funny because my husband's like not like that at all. I like can't let him pack my luggage because it's just like one big mess. And I'm like, it just drives my brain bananas. So
Yes.
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question about how like this frame of mind has in your childhood, teenage years, going beyond that? How does that come through in your or your way of thinking? How does it come through in your like athletic training, would you say? I mean, even as a
yeah,
kid, I'm
order.
assuming you were athletic. Like,
Yeah.
did you hyper focus on something? How did
Oh,
that go for you? You know, given what you're
oh
telling
yeah.
telling us, you
Oh
know.
yeah. So one of my autistic traits is that I'm hyperlexic. So running obviously became my special interest when I started running seriously in 1995. And yeah, my dad, so I well, first off, my parents are definitely neurodivergent. I would say my dad's probably ADHD and my mom's autistic. And I can see like our dad has always been into collectibles and books. So when I took this interest in running in 1995, my dad started going to bookstores, getting me like every book, magazine he could. And because I'm hyperlexic, and being hyperlexic means that I can read like large quantities of information and books, and it's like imprinted in my mind. So yeah, so he's my dad, I took this special interest in running. My dad got all these books. I'm reading like science physiology books. Like even when I started reading in first grade, I wasn't reading like, well, I did like normal kid books, but I was reading like science and physio, like not normal reading. And
Mm,
part of it's because I'm also gifted, and so I really liked like big words. I'm very like linguistic. And it's funny because like I had this speech I even though like I had this speech difficulties in my mind, I still like knew words. And so when I got into running and all this science and my dad getting magazines, I'm reading everything, like just imprinted on my mind. And I'm very like, because my dad was a coach himself, he was very like methodical. And so he was like teaching me, like, he was applying, he was a basketball coach, he's applying basketball to running. And he's like giving me like pro tips, and he's reading himself too. He was trying to get to know running as well. And so yeah, my dad was like my crew member, my support person, like educating me, coaching me. Um and yeah, I mean, being autistic, you have special interests. You when you find something you really enjoy, you deep dive on that. And then I had that hyper focus. We're talking about hyper focusing, and that definitely plays out in ultra running. Like, be able to hyper focus, for up to 6 days.
Yes.
uh
So
yeah,
I want to ask you, so there's always good parts and bad parts to everything. So
yeah.
what's the downside of that? Like, because otherwise somebody listening to this would say, okay, if you're neurodivergent, then you should actually be get a time penalty because you're so focused on
Superpower.
what you're doing and
Yeah.
all this stuff. What's the downside? Like, what emotional toll does it play, or what
Oh,
impact in your
huge. Yeah.
racing ability does it give you that is different than what other people experience?
Yeah,
What's
well,
the
I think
downside here?
I think that's where it like came out during my 6 day race is, I could hyper focus and push through the fatigue and the pain and the sleep deprivation. I could do that up to the point until I broke down. It was like I was hyper focusing so much that I was forgetting to take care of my personal needs. And so like it literally hit a point like day 4 where my crew was like looking at me and being like, okay, we need to stop her. She actually needs to sleep now. She
Mm,
needs, I had developed a urinary tract infection
mhm,
because I had developed like incontinence with my bladder. And my crew, like in my mind, I had normalized like literally bending over in the race because I knew I was going for a world record. I had already prepared myself mentally that I'm going to have to push through, like run through a wall. So I already had this mindset of whatever it takes. And I'm like bending over, trying to push through the pain and the issues with my bladder. And my crew was like, she's in a dire state. We need to stop
mm,
her because if she wants to get to that 6 day world best, she needs to take care of herself. So that was
yes.
literally like my crew was like the wake up call that to support me and be like, okay, you need to sleep, you need to take care. So and yeah, I mean that's where the whole like, even though I have this ability, I'm hyposensitive to pain, fatigue, sleep deprivation. At some point there's a law of diminishing return where it becomes a detriment and I need to take care. I need to support myself. So yeah, that's where the whole like disability part of, I have both the superpowers and I have the disability. But
Yes.
now that I have my diagnosis and I have the language and the understanding of that, I can like hyper focus more on what my body is feeling and being able to take care of my personal needs. And I felt like when I ran the Vermont 100,
Hmm.
I was seeing a lot of these, that both my strengths and my disabilities playing out. And it was a cool experience because I was actually running solo. I did not have a crew. I was relying on the aid stations.
Mm,
And it was a cool experience for me because it helped me to like not be so dependent on other people. I had to be more independent and to tap into what my body is feeling, what my needs are. And I actually felt like my nutrition was actually really good. It was one of my better races nutritionally. But yeah, physically, it was definitely a wake up call of like, I've got some work to do to get back in shape. So
gotcha. I mean, 100 mile comparing 100 miler to a 6 day event, like 100 miler, especially for one who runs it as fast as you do, you've run, I think, 12:41. Is that right? Is that,
yeah,
yeah,
there's some issues with that race. Yeah, when I ran the 12:41,
give or
it
take some
was
time, you know?
yeah. I don't know.
Or I
It
guess that
was
was jackpot, right, or whatever. Or I
Yeah, it
don't.
was
Mhm.
jackpot.
Yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. That was a couple years ago, but I don't really
yeah,
want to talk about it, but what
yeah.
happened, but don't worry about it.
Regardless of it,
Yeah,
my point being that as
12:42.
it, okay, sure,
Pretty fast. Let's just say
yeah,
pretty
Yeah.
fast.
that's like, okay, now you're slow, right? um,
Yeah.
I mean, but what I'm saying is that like a 12-hour effort is
Yeah.
like, you know what? That's like you can do
Fast.
that in some places before the sun sets, right? You know? So
True.
that's like, that's one thing. But for other people, a 100-mile effort can be a 36, depending on the course, 40-hour event, right? So
Yeah.
um so I don't know. I just wonder, like, but with the 6 day, I mean, yeah, you're going to be up against it, right? There's no faking that. You can't be that fat. You have 6 days to run. So any way you cut it, you just have more time to suffer there. So,
Yeah.
and I think that I mean, other people too are going to hit limits with what they have, right? And anybody who's competing at a high level has to have some level of expertise in this, and you have to have your shit together, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
from just how you're
Totally.
wired to whether it's a learned, whether it's innate or learned, right? You're either like an engineer. We see so many people, you can just tick out any one of the top Barkley finishers and stuff like that. They're all like engineers, and they're all
Yeah.
logistics managers, for shipping companies, or they handle all these amazing things like that. And
Yeah.
so either they've been born that way or they work their way that way. So how
Yeah.
you know so I guess, like, I could picture somebody listening saying, you know what, mental toughness is not just pushing through, it's also knowing mental toughness is also knowing when to back off.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really struggled with that part. And one of the hardest things when I got into ultra running is the fact that I'm also, one of my autistic traits is I'm a perfectionist. And
sure.
I think you can run a marathon and run pretty perfect for a marathon, but it's just not possible for
Yeah,
ultra running. So I would
yeah.
get so frustrated. My first years, I've had a lot of DNFs just because, like, I would get frustrated. It's like in my mind, I want to have the perfect race. And I feel
Mm,
like over time, like I learned that I needed to shift my mindset to have like more mental flexibility of, shifting my goals, that, it's not about perfection, it's about excellence. And being able to have that mental flexibility of, like, okay, I have to work through this. I have to, as long as I'm not, I think there's like three main reasons why you should DNF. Especially like injury, you don't want to be
yes.
pushing through like
Permanent damage,
yeah,
right?
like the
Family at
enjoyment.
home. No.
Yeah, enjoy, like, even like if you're just not enjoying it, I'm just like,
Oh my God.
and
Wait,
I'm not
wait, wait,
gonna,
wait, wait.
I
People might
don't
be
know.
running who are listening to this. So if you're not, like, yeah, if you're not enjoying it, you're doing it right, right? I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, like, even when I've run every time I've run a world record, I don't always enjoy it. I mean, it's actually pretty miserable, but you have to, like, you're just
yeah.
constantly like jumping hurdles and working through to get to the finish of, whatever I'm going for. So,
So
I
you
just want
have,
to make
oh, go
oh
ahead, please, Amy.
I just want to make sure I understand your like relationship to DNF and how it's transformed over the years. So
yeah,
are you saying that now you might be more inclined to be flexible with an outcome?
yeah,
Okay. So that you might be less
totally.
likely to DNF because before you were like, it has to be this or like I'm leaving kind of thing. Is
Yeah,
that what you're saying?
I just don't think I think I had like too much of that perfectionist mindset, and I had to like
Yeah.
let go of that and be like, ultra running is not perfect. It's about being able to troubleshoot really well and yeah, to work through problems. And I feel like I've kind of like gotten that the where I was when I started versus where I am now. I'm a much more, I guess you could say, chill person, even in
Mm.
like my training approach. I mean, I'm like 44 now. When I entered, I was in my early mid 30s, and yeah, I mean, it's not sustainable to have like a perfectionist mindset. I think you gotta develop mental flexibility, and yeah, now I'm in my 40s, and I'm realizing like the whole like a couple years ago we talked about skip the long run. We did an
Mm.
article about that, about how especially even since the pandemic, I became more like mentally flexible and more chill with my training. And yeah, I mean, I think that that's allowed me to stay sustainable as an ultra runner, versus like burning out like only after a couple years. And
Mm.
yeah, so I think like the whole mental flexibility is something, you like anybody at any level, but especially like the elite level, because we want to strive for that perfect race. But you can have like, a not perfect race and still win. You can still succeed. You can still finish. And yeah, it's just about troubleshooting. And I personally like sharing with people how I troubleshoot and work through problems, and yeah, like how other people can, have that success, whatever success means to them. So
Gotcha. I want to jump in here. So I think of two races specifically for you. One is Comrades, where you won Comrades, and the other is Spartathlon, where you set the record there. Um, by any you can't win Comrades and have a bad race. I mean, it's the most competitive. I mean, arguably, whatever, shoot me, everybody. It's the most competitive ultra marathon in the world, right? In some, to
super
some
competitive.
accounts, right? Or
Yeah.
it's right up there. I mean, you could make arguments for certain places, I suppose. It's
Yeah.
not my
I
jam.
mean,
But
I
given
don't think it's
those,
perfect,
here's
but
my question.
definitely not.
During those races, right? I
Yeah.
mean, how did you feel? And did you at some point feel like, let's take Comrades to start with. I always look at how well trained was I going in, and then how well did I execute, and how did I feel as I was going through? Like really
Yeah.
quickly, can you walk us through Comrades and your win there?
Oh
And
man,
how well trained were you? How did it go? And you know,
I love talking about it. And I appreciate you bringing it up, because I mean, it feels like it was forever ago. It's like 9 years ago, but
mm.
still, I mean, it was a big deal. It was like the one race I wanted to win in my life, and like I could retire after that.
There you
So,
go.
yeah, gosh, I mean, I literally feel like it could be a movie, just even like the months and the year leading up to that, because I had so many setbacks before it,
Mm.
and I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think it was possible. I mean, it literally feels like a miracle that I even made it to the starting line. But yeah, I think the thing that really like compelled me to win was the fact that my husband had a dream in like middle of April, and he dreamed that I won, and he's had like prophetic dreams before, and
Hold it.
so
Wait. He's supposed to dream that. I could see like, okay, Spartathlon. I could picture him being like the Delphi, right? He can be the help me out here, Anna. The the sightseer from a Delphi. What's it? The Oracle of a Delphi.
the Oracle.
Oracle of Delphi, I think it is,
Okay.
right? Of
Yeah.
Delphi, sorry. And like so he could have that dream, but like for Comrades, he had a dream that you won, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
in
how
his
well trained, so the first part of this is how well trained were you on a scale of 1 to 100? Where were you?
oh, I don't know, a 70 or
70.
seven.
Okay, good. No, this is good to know. This is great to know. And then
Yeah.
how well did you execute? Did you feel like, did you make the most
Um,
out of your day there? Like, did you?
I would rate it like maybe an 85.
Yeah. Huh. And then and then you win the thing. So my
Yeah.
question is this, like, what's it like to be in your head? Because here it is, this massive race that you won, and you're giving yourself like, are you, my question is, I know how I am in my head, and it is not it's a place that I have to make an effort, a solid effort to make it even habitable, right? Because otherwise, like, I stub my toe and I'm saying things like, come on, you fuck. Like, I mean, my self-talk is brutal as it gets. Like,
Oh,
I
my
know.
self-talk is brutal.
So tell us about your self-talk versus the smile that's on your face. Like,
Oh,
can you
I'm
tell
my
us about?
worst critic. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I actually curse a lot. A
gotcha.
lot. And it's like I kind of have to like mask that part of me when I'm like in public, but I've been cursing more. Uh yeah, I mean, but I'm such a like cursing in a positive way in my head, like to motivate myself.
Okay.
Uh but yeah, I mean when I like I said, when I ran comrades, I thought it was my destiny to win because my husband had this dream and
Yeah.
that basically my mind was willing my body, even though my body wasn't like totally prepared, like I wasn't in my best state. In my mind, I believed it was going to happen. So
Yeah.
like even watching the video of me, like I mean there I had a camera in front of me for like 6+ hours and you just see the determination on my face. Like I was literally running to the finish, literally believing that this is going to happen. And then I don't know if you've seen like the finish line, like
Yes. The
the
the fake finish line, right?
I mean, I like when I think about like because it was definitely not a perfect race. I definitely had moments where I stopped. I had I think like 2.5 beers during the race. Like people
And a
everybody
half.
knows.
See, I never drank a half a beer in my life. So
I think I like everybody knows I like beer and like even people around the course like offering me beer and I had to like no but my husband I definitely had some beer during the race about 2.5 beers and then yeah and then reached the finish and stopped at the timing mat and yeah it's made for a very memorable moment because it
yes.
had a very
So
dramatic finish so
so just to explain to people who, just to be clear, so you ran to the finish and thought the race was over at this timing mat, which was basically, I guess, the heads up mat to tell the timers like who's coming. And it
yep
was another,
exactly.
it wasn't that you were very close to the finish, but it was, what was it, like less than a quarter mile, right? I mean, it was just a couple hundred feet or something, or is that?
I think it was like 200, 300 meters or
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah.
but
Yep.
it had like this arch over it and it had
Sure.
like a timing mat and there was like nobody there. And,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, do I just have to like keep walking to get to my people? Because I mean, sometimes races do
Yeah.
that, like to get to the finish. So and I didn't, it's so loud and people are yelling and this guy comes over and I thought he was telling me to just keep moving, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Like it's the New York Marathon, right? Just keep moving.
Yeah,
You got to walk a
just
mile to see your
yeah,
family.
yeah. So I mean the whole like chain of events, and then the guy came from behind me, the other runner, and tapped me on the shoulder and pointed, and that was when it dawned on me. But it was so funny because like the camera, the media like panned to the second place runner because she's like 4 or 5, 6 minutes behind, and so like when you watch the video of it, like the drama. I can
Oh,
only
yeah.
imagine the millions of people at home because I mean they televise this, the whole country, everybody watches it. Everybody's probably yelling at their screen. And I shared a video last year because I started watching it for the first time in several years. I
Hmm.
found myself cheering myself on like as I was watching like
Oh, sure.
not only had I seen the first person view because I'm the athlete. But I was watching it as if I was a spectator and found myself cheering.
Yes.
And I thought it was kind of funny that I was doing that. And I ended up shooting a video just to be funny about it and posted it. And it
Yes. I
ended
saw
up
that.
getting like 51 million views.
Yeah, it's one of the great. It is one, not the finish in particular, although it's funny. It's great that that it turned out the way that it did, that you still won the race and everything. But it really, winning comrades was one of the great moments in ultra running. U.S. history.
It
So
was fun. I mean, people like
congratulations.
it's a thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I still get people bringing it up that they loved me over in South Africa, especially all the drama. Everybody's like kind of endeared to me over there. And
Mm.
they still call me the American girl. That's what I'm known as. So it's funny.
We'll
Do they
get
have
the
a
guest.
doll? Do they have a doll they sell in South
You
Africa?
know, actually, that I was on a trading card. They put me on a trading card and it was really popular apparently over there. So I
Very
did not
good.
get a dog, but I got a trading card.
So that was your, I think now we get a picture of your mental, like after that, when you won, you felt good about this, right? Or were you happy
Oh,
when I
oh,
mean, right? You were
geez.
happy,
I
please?
mean, yeah, it was because that year I was also entered in Western States. I
Mm,
qualified for Western States. And that was like 3 weeks after Comrades. So I ended up bouncing back and I had some pretty traumatic things happen at Western States. Had a really bad fall. That was a snow and ice year.
mm,
I ended up dropping out at only 15 miles because I had injured my hip.
yes.
Um, but yeah, like after that, like I kind of went through a couple weeks of just trying to recover from my injury with my hip, and I had this feeling of like I feel like I could retire now. Like I'm pretty happy with what
Sure.
I did. I was literally having a difficult time getting back running again. And that was when I had to shift my goals to, okay, what's most important to me next? I won Comrades. What do I do next? And that was when my goal became the world records.
Mm,
And so yeah, started like putting together all the different world records I wanted to go for and trying to
sure.
plot and plan that. So
Gotcha. So let's talk about, I want to look at Spartathlon under the same criteria. So
yeah.
going into Spartathlon, what was your how trained were you going into that? Like 1 to 100, where were you on that?
I was ready. I
You were
was
ready. Okay.
absolutely ready.
All
Yeah,
right.
I would say it was probably the second best shape I've ever been in for
Mm,
that race. I was definitely fit. Like it wasn't like my training was like super hard. I think it was just like very consistent. I was healthy. I'd actually like pulled back the reins. I mean, I wasn't running like I was at the beginning of my career. I was running more closer to around 100, 115 miles as,
mhm.
like my peak. I wasn't running 130, 140 miles anymore. So
Gotcha.
like I was in like how old was I? 41.
Hmm.
I mean, that's like prime ultra running age, like
Yeah,
41.
yeah.
I mean, I went in, my training went really well. We ended up doing a lot of course recon before that race. We drove
Mm,
along the course, I ran parts, I tested my shoes at the mountain section. Um, Very well prepared. In terms of like the actual race execution, I mean, I think I had like a total of like 16 minutes of stop time, which is really pretty good.
mhm.
And I would say Spartathlon is probably my best executed race
Nice to
in
know.
my
Yeah.
career. And yeah, I mean, I broke the course record by 2.5 hours or so,
Mm,
by Patricia Beresnowska from Poland.
mm,
Um, yeah, I mean, in terms, I laugh because like a lot of my records got broken last year, which is totally fine. I mean, women
mhm.
are doing amazing things now. My Spartathlon course record, I mean, it's like, I think it's pretty untouchable, in terms of like, I could see it standing for a long time. I might be the only person who could break it because I know what it took to get that, and I know what it take to get back there.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think that record is pretty untouchable. So,
Very good. Okay. So, because I always wonder about that because I know just even for myself, like I never felt like I was perfectly trained and that I had the perfect day and that I executed to get the records or to get the PR that I was looking for. Now, obviously drastically different, but yet, and some of those races, even my marathon PR, in the middle of the race, I was saying, yeah, I'm really not feeling that good today. And kind of wrote a concession speech. Like, yeah, I kind of tried. I went and I
In
just
your
decided
head.
I was just going to run it out at the end and do the best that I could on this day. And things changed and it got better. And I was able to have a strong, have a strong finish. So I
Yeah.
always wonder, when you talk about 100-mile or these longer, distances of in excess of 50 miles, there is that room for things to change and to and to turn around. And
Yeah,
knowing the
totally.
mental part, like, being able to focus on that and making sure that the self-talk isn't that brutal that it's shutting you down. Like,
Yeah.
so I wanted
You
to ask.
know,
Oh, go ahead.
the other interesting thing, I wouldn't say like the Spartathlon was definitely a great race. It
Mm-hmm,
wasn't perfectly executed.
mm-hmm,
But at the same time, I think because I had like the maturity in my career that when the basically the what I would execute differently is the first like 50K of that race, the women were just like it wasn't just me. It was like the other women were like pushing the pace. Like
yes.
it was like they were trying to run my legs off of me so that it became kind of more survival of the fittest. And I ended up pulling back the reins. I pulled
Mm,
back the reins at like 50K. I said, this pace is not sustainable. We're going to hit the mountain and everybody's just
mm,
going to die. So I ended up pulling back the reins, which was a maturity thing that I had that confidence that I could drop back to. I was in fourth place. I was like
mm.
fourth place woman. These women were just killing each other. And Connor kept giving me updates during the race, like, oh, they're 20 minutes. They were 30 minutes ahead of me at one point.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And there was like one point I came in the aid station and Connor was like, oh, so and so's 30 minutes ahead. And I literally burst out like, motherfucker. Like I literally like I wish it was on video because I literally
Yeah,
cursed out loud. There were all these people around. I was so like I was and I laugh because these other women are actually my friends, but we're still competitors. But I
yes,
literally burst out like cursing really hard. And but then like their wheels ended up coming off, but because I had strategically pulled back the reins,
sure.
that was a pro move that I did
Yeah,
early in the race. And then I ended up having my legs under me the last like after when we hit the mountain section and after that.
yes,
And I also think like my trail running background was really, really beneficial when I hit the mountain part because
yeah,
I was able to just it's a lot of like scree on like the back side of the mountain and these
sure.
like scree switchbacks. I flew down that,
Yes, that's
whereas
your
like
jam there.
the other runners were like tiptoeing because it's like really it's slick, you got to be
Yeah,
like have that body control. So yeah,
gotcha.
I really
So,
between like my trail and my road racing background, I mean it's a great course if you like
yeah.
yeah,
So
it's
does
super
Connor
fun.
ever, does he ever play you? Like, does he ever, knowing your, he knows you very well, obviously. And does he ever like kind of stretch the truth to suit you like, I mean, as a good crew member, I know how to like, most of the time, except sometimes I make my runners throw up like at
Oh,
Vermont,
Connor
but
knows how to push my buttons.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so
Oh,
yeah, so he does that.
yeah. Oh, totally.
Gotcha.
Like he's laughed because he feels like sometimes he like holds me back
Hmm.
too. Like that's where like he's kind of been like lately. He's like, yeah, I was like, I think you should just like start racing yourself and like learn how to support yourself because he's like emotionally vested as well. Like he
Hmm.
doesn't want to see me suffering or struggling
Yes.
and he's also going through it himself. Like he's especially like the 6 day. I mean, it was a mental journey for him.
Oh gosh,
Uh,
yeah, that's got to
you
be very
know,
difficult.
but yeah, I mean he's a coach though. I mean,
Hmm.
he knows like the right encouraging words. He can
Yeah,
I talk about like how do you eat the elephant? You eat the elephant one bite at a time. He's
yeah,
really good about like helping me like mentally reframe and to break down a race if I'm struggling at any point. So yeah.
yeah. Could we? I want to talk about. So we've talked about the races that are your bread and butter or your jam or whatever kind of analogy we want to use there. Um, and then there's some other races that maybe have other, other races that have other emotions maybe attached to them. I don't know if they do. I'm kind of assuming that they do. And I just wanted to talk about that. Like one, like the big one, right? Like one that like everybody would love to win Western States, right? I mean, that's kind of, most people
Yeah.
would just love to be able to get there or to get into the race.
Yeah.
And I know that you've
Totally.
run it a couple times and it's just never really clicked for you. And as you mentioned, you
Yeah.
got hurt once there, and sometimes you went in, and of course, anything to do with Western States, everybody is going to weigh in. Everybody in the Brother Has a Trail Running podcast and is going to weigh in on what's going to happen to Camille and what she's best suited for and what she can do and what she can't do. So I
Yeah.
wondered, like, how hard, did that carry extra emotional baggage for you, or how did, let's
Yeah.
talk about your relationship with Western States
No, I mean
and
it
that
just
kind of
has
running.
it just hasn't worked out for me, but I got to use the word yet. The word
Okay.
yet. I found a message from I was going through like pictures and I found a message. I don't remember if it was like a message I sent Connor or someone else, but I had taken a screenshot of a comment I had made and I said, I guess it's from like the beginning of my career when I went to Western States. And I said, well, maybe I'll win Western States when I'm 45. And
Mm,
I turned 45 next year.
okay.
And I found this within like the past year. I was randomly going through pictures and found this and I was like it was kind of like this light bulb of like I'm somebody that's like made the impossible possible and like I mean I don't even know like the oldest age of a woman winning. I think maybe like Cami Simic might have been in her 40s when she won.
Okay.
And yeah, like what's the oldest age of the woman's won Western States? But I mean, I have the leg speed, I have the physical ability, I have the experience of, can I put it all together? Can I prepare, right for me, have that like magic moment and do it at
Yeah,
45? I mean, I'm somebody that like dreams big and wants to do like epic shit.
I
And
love it.
I almost wore my do epic shit hat for this.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
it's Taco Tuesday, so I wear that one instead. But yeah, I mean, I think people would love to have like to see a comeback with me. Like try to first I have to qualify for Western States. So I'm talking
Yes.
about winning. I gotta tighten
Golden
up at the
ticket. You got to
cart
go back to
before.
you got to go back to Javelina, right? And get a
Yeah, I
golden ticket
mean,
there or
I don't
something.
know. I'm actually signed up for the Tunnel Hill 100 and
Yes.
I'm kind of mixed on it because I want to go. So I'm 44 right now and for
Hmm.
me to like to continue to hold the I'm still going for age group records now, both age group and the open records. So for me to like maximize my potential in the 40 to 44, I still am trying to chase those records. But at the same time, I would love to go back to Javelina. I would love to get
Mm,
back the course record.
yeah. I
I'd love to get back to Western States.
I
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the maybe the perceived difference between and I'm sure you'll probably know what I mean by this, between ultra running and trail ultra running, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like technically, a lot of the things that you run are trails, but in other sense, they're not trails at all, right? Like some of them are rail trails, some of them are other, some are a mix and things like that. Like, um, how do you feel? Like, do you feel? I guess here's the thing: is that you're so accomplished in so many of the records and things that you've done in ultra running. But then on the trail ultra running, not certainly not as much, right? Like you're not the first name that comes up when people think about pure trail, like a point to point, that kind of thing, trail running,
Yeah.
perhaps,
I
I mean,
mean,
when you're in the field,
yeah.
people are definitely going to mention your name. So I wondered like how you, um, like what your feelings are about that. Like, how do you feel about like the difference between the two, or maybe the relative respect or whatever you want to call it, the energy that is behind each of those in the
Yeah.
as a whole.
That's a great question. I mean, I've always seen like trail running as like fun and like it's kind of more like my secondary cross it's like more like cross training. It's more like I see myself like, and I mean, we as ultra runners, we have human diversity in what we're specialized in, what we're good at. We're not all the same bird. And
Yeah.
I really respect that, the athletes that specialize in ultra trail versus the athletes that specialize in ultra running. And I'm one of the rare few that's actually like crossed over and done both. But obviously, like my specialty, my primary sport is ultra running, the road ultras. And I've always kind of seen like ultra trails like secondary, but at the same time, it's getting so competitive now that it's becoming more specialized, and you don't see as much of that crossover.
Mm.
And so it's like, well, what if I specialized more on trail running, ultra trail, really like hone in like all the like technical stuff. I mean, I'd love to go to UTMB and like actually like prepare for that like a couple months out. But yeah, I mean, for me it's about fun and it's about sustainability and the enjoyment that I get out of it. And yeah, I mean, I think it's cool to be part of like all of it and like all the communities and
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I just think it's a preparation thing, really. I mean, I think like I love seeing like trail runners cross over to road ultras or vice versa. I mean, I think it brings like it helps the sport to grow and brings like interest to the races. I just saw this morning, I saw Gerda Stein, who's won Comrades 5 times, Two
Hmm.
Oceans 7 times. She's running Sierra now. And the women's field is stacked. So you've got like a who's who of like the shorter mountain trail stuff. And then you've got Gerda Stein in there. I mean, how cool is that?
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it generates interest in the sport to like cross over. It's fun for me to do it. Whether I win or not or somewhere in the middle. I mean, it's really about like the enjoyment I get of it. And yeah, that's how I feel about it.
So what's your
Okay.
training like as between those two disciplines? I mean, road or flat or
Yeah.
non-technical trail, I guess, and technical trail. Like what do you
Yeah.
gravitate towards if you just were choosing on your own?
Yeah, I've really experimented a lot with my training over the years. When I first got into ultra trail, I was doing a lot of like vert and a lot of like technical, and I felt like I started to feel flat and tired, and I was like, yeah, it's like I feel like there's like a point where if you do too much of it, at least this is how I felt at the beginning. I felt like, okay, I feel like me personally, I need to do more like blended training. And if I am training for a race like Western States, I might do like maybe 2 or 3 trail runs, like pretty good trail runs a week. Versus when I'm training for road, I usually will do only like maybe 1 trail run a week.
Mm.
But I personally thrive better when I keep my training mostly road based instead of trail based. It's just that when I do trail, I try to do like more trail, like maybe 2 or 3 runs. And yeah, we live near the Sabina Canyon Trail. So I have a variety of trails to train on here in Tucson. I can either get some like nice kind of rolling type stuff like Javelina, or I can go to Sabina Canyon trails and get more like vertical and rocks. So yeah, I've kind of got a variety. I guess, I mean, since the last couple of years, I'd been more like ultra running focused on like world records, but I just did the Vermont 100 and it was like, oh
Yeah.
crap. It was like, oh shit.
There's no vertical. There's no vertical in that. Yeah.
I was like, I was not prepared for this.
let's talk
This
let's talk about could we talk about Vermont 100 here?
Oh, for sure. Oh man,
Okay.
it was
So
I
but,
yeah,
but
totally.
so I want to ask you the same thing, like going into it, like, so first of all, would you characterize that as the Vermont 100 as as a comeback race for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it was it was not the it was like my worst preparation ever. Um
Okay.
Literally it was the worst preparation ever for a race. Like even like going back to high school, I was like I even prepared better in high school. But at the same time, I mean, I was so happy just to be there and to finally like make a comeback on Ultra Trail.
Hmm.
Um yeah, I felt like there was such a chain of events that were preventing me from potentially missing another year. But I ended up getting my shit sorted like before the race and then like flew there, had a host family, got it figured out to camp at the starting line.
Yes.
And
So
I really
you were
yeah.
there with Clarice Reinhardt, right?
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Very
Yeah,
good.
Clarice
Yeah,
and Phillips.
she's a good friend of the podcast, so for
Okay,
a long
cool.
time. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah. Oh man, they were so I mean just Amy, the race director Amy.
mhm.
I mean, she's a gem.
Yes.
Like she's like the best kept secret in the sport.
Thank you.
Like, oh
Yes.
my gosh, like put her on the like RDs of best RDs of all time. Like put Amy on there. I mean,
She's
she's
already
like
there. She's already, sorry. I hate to
she's
break it,
there.
Camille. She's there and she's been there. Yeah, she
Yeah,
is
I'm like,
legendary.
what?
So
She's legendary. And I mean, not only like I even looked at her like history of her races. I don't even know. She's got like 138. Like it's like she's run so many 100 milers, and she's just I mean, I appreciate her so much. And like even like I was hoping to come last year and when I reached out to her last year and how do I remember I think I'd seen like the disability cat I think that's what it was. I'd seen that they had disability categories for the race and they hadn't like updated the website to mention the neurodiverse category that they'd
mhm.
added. And so she was really excited to hear from me. And I told her about how I was autistic ADHD. And she was like, oh, yeah, we added a neurodiverse category. I thought that was so cool. I was like, I feel like it's a sign from above, like, Tommy, you got to do this race. But I didn't get to do it last year. I was dealing with autistic burnout last year. And yeah, I've just been trying to recover from that between just the burnout I was feeling and then my female hormones. I've really struggled with my female hormones and the perimenopause and yeah, being a neurodivergent woman, I
Mm,
feel I'm very like hypersensitive to the hormonal fluctuations I've gone through. And so I've had to work with my medical provider to get my hormone replacement therapy. So I am taking estrogen. I have like an estrogen patch and progesterone. And just trying to like figure that out to get me like stabilized. It has been a journey. And even like before the race, because I've still been like trying to figure out my hormones before the like a few weeks before the race, I was feeling terrible. I was really struggling just like sleeping a lot and mentally emotionally like just all over the place. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I'm gonna be like prepared enough to do the race because I was struggling with my hormones. I just felt like my training was very suboptimal. And then on top of it, I was supposed to be crewed. I had a friend that was going to support me, but she couldn't make it because of a family. Her husband had to go on some trip, and so so anyways, I had to figure out like how I was gonna like it was just a lot of like setbacks, it felt like before the race. So even just getting to the starting line felt like a small miracle. And I really appreciate Amy helping me sort that out and having Clarice and Phillips host me. So it was awesome.
very good.
I appreciate you mentioning the hormone stuff because I've this has come up on the podcast before, and I'm older than you, but I think it's just important for people to hear that this is something that you encounter and affects, like one's athletic
Everything.
experience. I mean, and as a professional, it's even more dramatic.
Yeah.
But yeah, something
And
to be figured out. And it's not like this is the end of it. I'm afraid to say, right? It's just a long-term something you have to deal with and figure out like the right
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because like physically, I feel just as strong as I've ever like when I at least when I'm able to like train properly. I'm in my 44 mid 40s physically like if I can train consistently and properly again, I'm just as good as strong as I've ever been. I mean, I've been dealing with perimenopause for a couple years and when I have gotten my hormones figured out, it has been like magic. Like I go to Spartathlon and I felt great and had a heck of a race. But yeah, I mean there's just these hormonal like fluctuations I'm going through and trying to figure out how to like feel consistent to be able to train to physically be prepared. And so yeah, I the past couple the past like year, past 2 years has been like a journey of getting my hormones stabilized. So yeah.
Gotcha. So, um, all right. So with that, so how that being said, how did Vermont go for you? Like let's take it
Oh
again. So on a
man.
scale of 1 to 100, what is the number as far as training preparedness on that?
Preparation, like a two.
A two. Okay, but let the record
Really
show.
bad.
I want to object, Your
But
Honor. Let the record show that you did manage to run an 1842, right? So
I did.
that's not like a two. I'm sorry. Like,
I think it's I'm my own like worst critic, but
okay,
I
good. That's
definitely
fair.
I feel like I have to break it down because I feel like physically it was like a two, mentally it was like a nine. And then like in terms of the outcome, I mean finishing on a podium, especially against some really strong women in that race, I mean that's you can't
Mm,
complain about that. In terms of like how it went, I mean it literally like 20 miles into that race, I was like, I don't know if I can physically finish this. And it's hard to wrap your head around like going another 80 miles. But mentally and emotionally, I was like happy, happy, joy, joy. Like,
yes. Yeah, I saw you come into Pretty House and you were it was you got your drop bag and then you came over to the aid station and you know what, you were as expected, you were looking like you were feeling great there. And then a
yeah.
couple other places I managed to get a video of you,
I
which
was definitely masking how I felt.
okay.
And but
Did you
like nutritionally I was actually great. I was
mm,
nutritionally great, physically not so great.
uh-huh.
Yeah, in terms of like my energy and everything and my mental state, my emotional state, I was so happy to be there. I felt like my brain was willing my body, even though physically I didn't feel prepared. It was like my brain in my brain I was mentally doing all the tricks I normally do to get there to get to the finish and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean just the support on the side was amazing. It was just yeah.
Gotcha. So let's what tricks are these you're speaking of? Let's have some, we want some graduate level elite trick shit here, right? We
I
need some good
mean,
stuff.
I
What you
was just
got?
like smiling. I was really enjoying the crowds. I remember
Mhm.
there was like a kid that had a lemonade stand and I was like, oh, lemonade sounds good. I went and got the lemonade and then I slapped a high five with the kid. I mean, I was really soaking in like all the people, the environment, the course was beautiful.
Mm.
And then it started to rain, and I was like, of course it's gonna rain. And then I'm in my like road shoes, and I'm like, well, what if it's like a slip and slide? I was so like positive the entire race, even though physically I was like, I'm not prepared for this, but let's get to the finish. I
Yeah.
wasn't in terms of like competing, I didn't feel like I was super competitive. I didn't really even go into the race thinking about competing. But it ended up being competitive. And I felt like I didn't really care about competing. In fact, I was like cheering on the other women. I was like cheering on Megan. I was cheering on Joanna. I mean,
Hmm.
I felt like I kind of forgot that I was a competitor in the race and that I think at like one point I did feel I went off course like 5 times, and two of the times I went off course by a lot. And the first time I went off course, I got thrown back to like third place.
Hmm.
And oh, it was so frustrating in my mind. It was so frustrating, but at the same time, I was like, at this point, I'm like, I've run so many trail races. This shit happens. But I was like, oh, I feel like I'm so happy there's other women in the race. Like, this is so cool. Like, I felt it was like
Mm.
I was kind of like I feel like if this had happened like 10 years ago, I would have been like fired up, like I'm gonna compete. I didn't care. I was like actually excited that there were other women and that I was like, this is so cool. Like, I mean, there's other women, like I'm cheering them on. And even like I mean, Megan looks so strong. She went by me, I think like 70
Yes.
miles. I mean, I was like, oh, this is so cool. She's in the race. Like, I don't know. I just felt like I wasn't really competing. I forgot it was a race, and I was like, in my mind, I was just going to be happy to get to the finish. And when I did, I was so elated. And yeah, I had my trail angel Adrian. I was really struggling with my back the last couple of miles, and he was helping me stretch my back, and we were stopping together. My headlamp was like dying. I don't even know why my headlamp was dying because I knew it had like a lot of battery. But yeah, I mean, I was working through all these challenges, but at the same time, I was so happy just to be there. I was so happy to finish. Like
Mm.
I was a really happy person, even though my physical state was pretty dire. So
How would you compare the like East Coast vibe to because I know you're,
Oh,
doing more like desert stuff, but
yeah.
how would you compare those vibes?
It was so beautiful. I mean, I'm just such a like positive person, and like to be in like a different environment with the trees and the rain, and I mean there were just some really great moments like going up and down and like seeing kind of the grassy fields.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean I was in such a like positive state the entire time, and the crowd support was great. There were some aid stations I ran through. I mean, I haven't raced like especially like ultra trail. I hadn't done so long that I mean, seeing the crowds, I really like hammed it up and like got them going. I was so positive the whole time, and yeah, it was a great comeback. I mean, I love to win. I would have been very happy to win, but at the same time, I was super, super happy just to be there, to be on the podium. Amy's amazing. The crowds were amazing. I really, really appreciated. And the other thing is to mention, I mean, this is a fundraiser for Vermont Adaptive as well. I think that's so cool. I think it's so cool how, I mean, Amy's just like setting the example for other races to follow, and supporting a fundraising for a great cause, supporting disabled athletes. It was
Mm.
awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it kind of seems to have, in my mind, it seems to have an appropriate amount of hype, but not
Yeah,
over the top where you feel like you're in the middle of a billboard,
I
or in the middle
agree.
of a shopping mall. So,
I agree. I mean, I just think about Western states. It feels like you're constantly like running through funnels of people, and yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about that. I mean, I really, as a like neurodivergent person, I mean, I do get amped up from the people, but I'm like at some point, like, I mean, why do you need like 10 people in your crew? Like, I don't know. It's like maybe there needs to be some boundaries or something because it's just like it can get crazy. Even like UTMB, I mean, you watch UTMB, they can be like gathering in on the runners. It's kind of
oh yeah, yeah, it's
insane.
like the Tour de France on
Yeah,
foot,
yeah.
which is fine for the Tour de France, I think somehow. But even that, I wonder, like, you know, it's really interesting, and I mean, we could talk for a long time about it. Just the
Yeah.
dynamics of money in sport, and and what it does, and whether it
Wild.
actually makes it better. Because I was kind of shocked. Like, I don't know if you follow World Cup soccer or
Oh
football.
yeah.
So they just had FIFA just had this whole thing where they want to, they made a move to try to pump more money into the event, where they're going to expand the number of teams, and where they're going to get special distribution things and all this other stuff. And everybody, like a lot of the individual leagues that are part of this said, wait a minute, time out, guys. This isn't, I mean, it's about making money, sure, but it's not all about that. And adding, billions of dollars to this isn't going to improve it and isn't going to make it more accessible to people. So, we see
Yeah.
Iron Man coming in and see, some of the big
Oh, yeah.
capital come into the sport, and you got to wonder, what is that going to do? So I don't know, like,
Oh,
what have
man.
you seen change, and like, do you have any hot takes on that?
Oh gosh. Oh, I have so many like mixed thoughts about that. I mean, I feel like that there's something for everyone in our sport. If you want to be part of UTMB races and the competitive side, I mean, yeah. And I mean, I think the athletes should be paid. I mean, it's like any other
Yes.
sport, like the elite athletes, the amount of time and effort. Yeah, they should be paid. But at the same time, I'm telling you, there's like all these like awesome races in the US that are independent that are just, offer like I went to Vermont. I mean, there's so many like there's like women. I've been recruited to do like just random like 100 milers that support women. There's all
Mm.
these like races like that that I would love for me, because every time I race, it's the visibility that I bring to event as well.
Yes, that's
And
absolutely true.
yeah, and I like the last couple years I've thought about this. I'm like, and especially as a neurodivergent person as well. It's like, do I want to continue to go do the hyped up, professional races or do a mix of whatever, do the competitive stuff like maybe Javelina, but then also do like the local community stuff that there's all these like cool events like throughout the US. Like I just got somebody was trying to recruit me to a 100 miler in Montana. And
Hmm.
I love Montana. I did a summer research program there as an undergrad. Its ability to travel to cool places, meet people, see cool things. And yeah, I want to support that. I want to continue to support the American races, the 100 milers. I definitely I have a goal to do like 100 milers, throughout my life and career.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, there's all these awesome like the website Run 100s and was it Stan
Yes.
Jensen? I mean, I love that. I love being able to like go through and be like, I just want to like click off to like all these races. So
It's like shopping, going shopping like Poshmark or something.
it's fun. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean like what other elites are doing that? I feel like elites are like being pushed to and a lot of it's their sponsors are pushing them, to compete. I have like independence now. Like
Mm,
I don't have my sponsors pressuring me to do like this or that. I can pick and choose what I want to do. It's really awesome. Yeah, I support it all.
gotcha. Okay. Um, so let's see. Anna, did you have a question right now or something? You look
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
had
yeah.
something.
I have a few questions
Yeah,
that I've been interested in asking. Like,
Sure.
this is kind of not related to anything we've been talking about, but
Yeah.
I'm curious, what do you think specifically of the state of women in, ultra and trail running today? Just well,
Amazing.
we've seen some amazing things happen from women just in the last couple of years, like just
It's so
overall
great.
performance. Are you like when you think about women in the field of ultra rail running and trail running, like what are your impressions from the last couple of years? Do you have predictions about like the state of women in these sports?
Oh
Like which
man.
female runners like particularly inspire you and why and that kind of thing. Maybe you could just talk about like being a
Oh,
woman in trail running and ultra running.
I feel like I'm just as much a fan as I am a participant. And I've always been like a hype girl. Like, and sometimes I forget that I'm also a competitor. Like especially like last year, it was insane. I mean, I think I had like a 3 or 4 week period where I lost like a lot of records. And at the same time, I'm a fan. Like I was like cheering them on. What was it? I think it was like Tunnel Hill. Like my 100 mile world record dropped last year, but I'm longtime friends with Catriona Jennings from Ireland. And I had friends that were giving me updates that were there at the race. And yeah, I know the race director, Steve. I mean, like, texting with him. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I get happy. And people like it's really interesting because people always like peg women against each other. But the thing
Mm.
is, like, we're friends. We're friends. I've known Katriana Jennings since I ran the 50K World Championship in 2015. We met there. I mean, the other women are my friends, and we cheer each other on. We support each other, and to like put me up against people. I mean, I kind of don't like that. I mean, I guess that's just a thing to do, but I've seen it also like with the the WNBA, that I think they had like something about Angel Reese. Is it Angel Reese and
Mm.
Caitlin Clark, that, or
Yes.
no, not Caitlin Clark, it's the other what's the other one? I don't know, but they, how they like they peg women up against each other, but
Of
at the same
course.
time they're like friends, in like real life. And I mean, that's how I feel about it. But yeah, in terms of like women, they're like exciting. I mean, it was a heck of a course record for Tara Dower at Javelina. Um, One thing that was like, because when I ran my record, I didn't have pacers, and I think she had like multiple pacers, and that's an interesting thing that somebody brought that up. And I even like the Vermont 100, they have different categories for solo versus crude.
Hmm.
And I thought about that even at like Western States. I mean, Courtney Dauwalter didn't have pacers when she set her record. Versus what's her, I'm losing my mind, that just broke her record. Um the
I should
Oh,
be able to help.
Jen Lichter.
Jen Lichter.
Yeah.
I
Look at
mean,
Anna coming through with that.
I'm so bad with name. I'm on the spot. She was amazing. Oh my gosh. Like, I've never, the thrill. We got up in the morning time and like watched it when it like started. Was it like 5 in the morning, 5, 6? I think I
Mm.
got up at like 6, and they were coming through the Lions Ridge at was it like 10 miles at Western States. I mean, we watched it the whole day. We had multiple spreadsheets up where we were trying to track the different aid stations.
Mm.
I mean, like, and it was so exciting. It was really exciting. And it literally came down to like that last hour. I think she had like a 5 minute cushion, and then she came through at the what's the Roby Point, like 2 miles ago,
Hmm.
a mile, is it 2 miles? 2 miles. Oh my gosh, the margin was so close. We were like off the couch. It was like, it
Mm.
was like, but at the same time, like I thought about like, are we at a point where like they need to start like keeping different categories, because it's a different conditions, having pacers versus not having pacers.
Yeah,
And
because they go in,
yeah,
it's like an indie pit crew for some of them, right? Like
yeah,
where you go in and it's really you have somebody swapping out the vest, another person's putting an ice bandana on, they're
yeah,
refueling,
the
they're
NASCAR style.
they're almost
And
Yeah.
going to the porta john for you,
I
Well,
you
mean,
know.
yeah.
and that's
Uh,
why, I mean, in the FKTs, right, they definitely have the three
oh
categories.
yeah,
So
same thing,
Yeah.
same
yeah, they
thing.
definitely distinguish between your unsupported, self-supported, and supported. And it's
Yeah,
point because they obviously don't do that for, a race,
it's
but I mean,
yeah. I
they have
mean,
the categories, but not for the winners, right?
I guess this is like my hot take is, I mean, like, especially Amy. I mean, I feel like Amy's very like thoughtful and like, being like, creating these different categories. And I wonder about this with Western States. But yeah, I mean, obviously they offer, anybody can have a pacer, but I still think it's like different conditions to have a pacer versus not, or have crew or not have crew. And yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it's good for sports when records are broken. And Jennifer Litcher's record was incredible. It was exciting. The men, oh my gosh, we haven't even talked about the men. I mean, it
Mm.
was Jim. I think about how much like Jim Walmsley. I mean, he's set the standard there. I don't even know how many times he's won now. And yeah, the guys came in, three of them broke the record, but the conditions were pretty perfect.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
was. I can't even comprehend it being in the 70s. I mean, I've run in, it's like always like 95 to 100. So
Gotcha. Actually, those were the
yeah,
same conditions that they had at Vermont this year. Vermont conditions were pretty good. I mean, generally,
yeah.
short of the rain, which I guess was a little bit refreshing, but
Oh yeah,
easy for me to
yeah,
say. But compared to how it
yeah.
has been in the past,
Oh, I've heard that too.
it's been that race can be pretty toasty and humid. So
I'll
Yeah,
say I feel like it with the, pacer, not pacer. I mean, it is up to the person, obviously, to decide what they want. And when they
yeah,
decide, make that decision, they're deciding how they want to go into this and
mm,
what will be best for them. So I've definitely heard
yeah,
people say, like, I would prefer no pacer because then I don't have to worry about people and I can like be honed in. And actually, I'm better off without pacer. So
yeah.
I do
I,
think like because
you
it's not
know,
like anyone's forcing
yeah,
you to do one thing or
yeah,
the other, you're
true.
making that decision for yourself.
I
But
feel like I mean, obviously, like World Athletics, I mean, it goes to show because they keep a women's only versus mixed world records. I mean,
hmm
definitely having a pacer makes a difference, even
mm,
if you're, at the highest standard. It just shows, I mean, I don't even know what the minute. I think it's like a 6 minute difference or something like that between the women's only versus mixed.
mm.
It definitely makes a difference. Even like ultra road ultras, like you can't have somebody jump in to pace you at the end. That's not allowed by rule. We follow the same rules as the marathon, so yeah.
Yes.
But I
Yeah.
don't know. I guess that's like my only hot take, and it's not to like take away from what anyone did, but I still think those are different conditions.
Yes.
And yeah, seeing what Amy does at Vermont, I mean, I think that's very progressive thinking. And yeah, I mean, we have these. I'm part of the PTR, the Pro Trail Runners, the athlete group, and I think they surveyed us like a couple months ago, and most of the athletes supported not having pacers.
Mm,
And I don't remember if it was specifically about Western states or if it was in general. I forget what the survey was.
mm.
But they felt like elite athletes shouldn't have pacers. But then I guess the Western States board came out and were like they said it was a safety thing, that they had like discussed that. So I don't know. I mean, I feel
It,
like there's so much support at Western states. I don't know if it's
yeah, it
necessarily
is. It's kind of strange because we mentioned FKTs, and I
oh
think that
yeah,
the thing that
true.
Buzz had always mentioned about FKTs is that like the important thing isn't like it just unsupported isn't necessarily better than supported um or 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 self-supported. Um, but all you really the important part is that you tell everybody what you did. Like you
Yeah, you
understand
make a
what the rules are.
choice. You make a
And
choice. That I mean,
yeah,
that's like what Amy had. You enter the race, you say you're going to be solo or crewed.
and this
Um,
is what it means.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
um,
let's
yeah,
talk about that. Can we talk about let's talk about like rules and things like that. I get the
yeah.
sense from, I mean, like I
You
know that's
followed
like a
me.
subtle reference there, but like,
Yeah,
yeah, I understand that for you rules are
it
important,
matters.
right? Yeah, rules
Totally.
matter, right? So maybe you could kind of talk about that a little bit and like um I wondered, like, do you think that you're like, maybe you could kind of just talk about rules in general for you in
Yeah,
running and records and things like that. And
yeah.
what
It's
that, why is that important or not important or, and maybe talk about that.
Yeah, well, like one of my autistic ADHD traits is that I have very strong justice sensitivity. So I've always been like a social justice warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Like advocating. I've always been somebody that's advocating for other people. I'm advocating for rules. You don't cheat, lie, steal, period. And I mean, whether you've got laws in life or you got rules in sports, I mean, I'm very like very focused on that. But yeah, I mean, I coming from like road racing and the marathon, I mean, I saw things. I had things happen. I was cheated by other athletes that cheated. left off podiums. I've seen things. Very first time I represented a US team at the Pan American Games back in 2011. I went to the Porta-John like 20 minutes before the race. I saw a syringe floating in the Porta-John. Like
Mm.
it's like, hey, here's welcome to elite level marathoning. And the Pan American Games is a qualifier for some of these athletes to make their Olympic team. And who knows what somebody's injecting before right before a race. So yeah, I mean, I've competed at the highest level. I know what it's like. I've seen one time I was running a 5K, a competitive 5K that had prize money. I saw two Russian athletes uh take a detour like before the turn that we were supposed to take.
Mm.
And yeah, and after the race, I remember thinking like they took an early turn and like why were they so far ahead of us at the end? Yeah, I mean, course cutting is definitely happening. So anyway, so I had these experiences when I was a marathoner. So when I got into ultra running, I mean, I had that mindset of knowing like rules and anti-doping and yeah, I mean, I've been cheated. I'd run races before and then athletes were caught doping, like taking substances. So yeah, I had that mindset when I got into ultra running. And I realized like when I first got in the sport, it was like the wild, wild west. I mean, it was like
Mm.
races weren't sanctioned. There weren't like rules. It was just kind of like literally I could imagine it being like a bunch of gunslingers, like, like
Yes.
um so I've always been an advocate for clean sport. I mean I remember 10 years ago, like it was like me and Sage Candidate like speaking up. He's from a marathoning background. He's experienced things.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I mean I felt like we were advocating back then. And then yeah, I mean, as the sport has gotten more professionalized in the last couple of years, that and people see me setting these records and people that have the mindset to cheat, to try and cut corners, to take drugs. I mean, they see what I'm doing, my sponsors, the professionalization. And I being neurodivergent, I'm like a canary in the coal mine. I'm somebody that like picks up on the details and the patterns and
Mm.
watching the live stream or seeing things in person. I think my mic there.
No,
Oh, okay.
you're
I
still
think I
there.
think my
Yeah.
headphones are dying. But anyways, I'm like a canary in the coal mine, so I really pick up on the details and seeing things and I've made reports. I've talked about being a whistleblower. I made my first report to SafeSport back in 2013.
Hmm.
Or not 2013, I'm sorry, 2023. Somebody sent me an inappropriate message. It's a leader in our sport that sent this message. And I was like, I can't handle this I can't handle this shit anymore. Um, I was just really frustrated with like what I experienced throughout my career, with whether me being bullied or harassed or falsely accused or seeing other athletes violating the rules of our sport. I was like, I'm gonna just start reporting this. I'm just tired of this shit happening. And so this message was sent to me. I reported it to Safe Sport. It was a leader in our
Sure.
sport. I can't tell you like who that is. But that was my first report. And then I made some more reports in 2024 and I started being retaliated against for that because some of the reports that I made were not kept confidential. I started being publicly smeared, even though my reports were in good faith. I spoke the truth. Rules really were violated.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I ended up being publicly smeared. And then there was this witch hunt and defamation, and like all these things happened. And I have like multiple legal matters as a result of that. Um, but yeah, I mean, and the thing that I've come to realize is, I mean, I think about women who whistleblow, women who report abuse, in sports and life, in the entertainment industry, and the retaliation that happens, this public smearings, the personal attacks, and all this time, like women should be celebrated when they speak up. When a woman speaks up and a woman speaks up in good faith and speaks the
Mm.
truth, And yeah, it's really interesting because Sage has been speaking up for clean sport,
Yes.
and I understand where he's coming from. And it's really interesting how people twist the narrative and go on these personal attacks and like smearing him.
Yeah, it
And
turns into a personalities over principles, right?
yeah, and
Like
it's like,
if somebody is picking on the person that I'm in their camp, then it doesn't the facts don't matter about it.
yeah,
And
and the thing is, it's not, you can have empathy for somebody if somebody has like a medical condition and they're looking, they're desperate, they're looking. I mean, you can have empathy for a person, but if you sign the waiver for a race, you agree to abide by the rules of that race.
mhm.
And that's really what it's about. It's not personal, it's not about taking sides. It's not, I mean, this is about integrity in sports. And
Mm.
people don't understand. They're like, oh, well, I don't care. I'm just trying to finish a race. I want to live healthy. I want to feel good for life. And the thing is, like, whatever's on the WADA, whatever's part of their substance list or their policies, it's on there because it for safety, that the rules exist for safety, not just for
Mhm.
integrity. And there hasn't been human clinical trials for BPC 157. That's not a substance that's been validated and legally approved, to be taking. So you shouldn't be taking that. So yeah, I mean, and it's so wrong to see like people like twisting it into this like personal
Well,
attacks. It's no.
anytime that there are uh, rules. Like, I mean, we see it in the Tour
Yeah.
de France, right? I mean, that's probably, I think most people would agree that that might be the cutting edge of performance in a lot of ways. Like, it has
Fair.
all the money behind it. It's a
Yeah.
pure endurance sport, or however you want to characterize it. So, all of the if there's anything that is going to get you to the finish line first or get you up the hill faster or help you recover faster, it comes
They're
out
doing it.
in the tour. And
Yeah.
so but it's constantly being redefined, as far as
Yeah.
like those boundaries are. And it is kind of weird. And I think that we're all um I have, here's something that happens with me, is that I can appreciate rules for certain things and understand that the rules apply to that situation. Um, but
Yeah.
then also sometimes there's unfairness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
And
mean, the
that
justice
seems,
sensitivity, the integrity part.
yeah,
I mean, the rules are there to be applied consistently, so you can compare one performance to. It's about fairness.
gotcha.
Um, yeah, and I mean, like my experience with the whole whistleblowing. I mean, it just led to all these like personal attacks and accusations,
It,
and it's hard being a woman who speaks up, a woman who speaks up against men.
mhm.
And yeah, just the way that I was attacked. But I'm seeing the whole thing play out with Sage, and I'm being, encouraging to him because I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And it's not personal. It's not like you can still be a kind person, but also have like care about integrity and rules and
Yes.
why they matter.
Where's the disconnect in that though? Because that was something that I have to say, like,
Yeah.
what, I think that decent people can have a disagreement on every issue, including like some of my past and some of your past as well, right? Some certain decisions or whatever, like, they can have, I think that people can be of a different mindset one way or the other to a thing, but there is a spot, I think, where at least there should be like some kindness and empathy and
Oh,
understanding that, like, hey, you know
yeah.
what, even in politics I find it like, yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
vote for this guy, but if you decided to, it doesn't mean that you're a fucking asshole, excuse me, that you're that bad, that you're that bad of a person. Like, you can have differences for that, but or
Yeah.
there are certain ways that people can reach certain conclusions about things, you know. And
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody seems to think it's like their opinion matters. And
yeah.
the thing is the rules are pretty clear cut. It's not about an interpretation.
Mm,
It's not about your opinions. I mean, the rules exist for a reason to uphold the safety and integrity and fairness
yes.
in the sport, equality in the sport. And yeah, it's like and I'm just somebody that's very like strict, like, and I've had experience. I've lost records. Like we're talking about the jackpot 100 back in
Yeah.
2022. I mean, it
Understood.
was it was its own. I hate to use the word controversy, but I mean,
A
you've got
course
you.
certification error, right?
It was, yeah. I mean, you had like the original course certifier. He measured it a couple days after the race, and he got over 100 miles. And then they had a couple of other World Athletic course certifiers that level whatever it's level A
Hmm.
certifiers that went in like a couple months later, and they found that it was short. So you've got one guy that found it was over 100. You've got a couple of other guys, and they went by those other guys that they brought in. And I I can appreciate that the remeasurement aspect that they have to do, that they're just like following the rules. But
Hmm.
there was some controversy with that because one of the guys who remeasured the
I
course
gotcha.
was in conflict. He had conflicts of interest with the race director. He had gotten into conflicts with at the
Yeah.
race.
Huh.
So I always like refuted, I was like, he should not have been involved with the remeasurement of the
Correct.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I it's so
That's
it
a
was
key. Yeah,
it
that's a
was a
key
real
thing.
issue.
This conflict of interest that people have. Like
Yeah.
with your situation in particular, 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, um, I understand that people are not in a position to look at all the facts and spend hours hyper focusing on what happened when and exactly what rules say and exactly what people did and exactly how things happened. But I am,
Yeah.
and I did. So 2 years ago, I did a bunch of hyper focusing on your situation because I was
Yeah.
really quite, honestly, I was losing sleep over it, and it wasn't even me. And I'm like, I even had to talk about it in therapy. I'm like, why am I this upset about this?
Yeah.
And I
Well,
was like, I was distraught because I felt like, oh my God, here's somebody that, whatever, like nobody loves everybody and everybody doesn't love everybody, right? So but we can at least be decent to each other, right? And some of the stuff that happened 2 years ago with you, there was such level of like people piling on the bandwagon and not no way anybody spent any time looking at the facts. They just took a couple people's word for it. But
yeah.
then I think that at some point, like you look at some of the people, at least that were speaking out, had a definite conflict of interest, and in
Oh,
my
yeah.
opinion, had no business whatsoever saying anything, and they did, which gave the argument credibility. You know,
Yeah.
it,
Well, I mean, I wasn't even interviewed. It's in fact, it's really weird to listen to other people talking about me and trusting what they read,
oh
thinking
yeah,
it's the truth and thinking it's fact, and not understanding that there's a lot of like conflicts. There's a lot of conflicts. Like, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's really because I for to protect my own mental health and well-being, and I didn't even have a computer in Greece. I mean, my
yeah.
husband had his computer. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what had
That's good.
happened. I
Yeah,
I didn't even like it was like over a year or like even just almost a year because of my legal matters. I had to protect my mental. I hadn't even like looked at anything. I mean, it caused me because I'm somebody that values truth and
hmm,
has such strong justice sensitivity. It's really difficult for me to see all the false claims and
yes,
defamatory claims. It's really, really upsetting. It's really upsetting to me that people are accusing my husband's email address of belonging to me. And it was based on false information that wasn't fact checked. And the weird thing is like everybody in the community knows that's his email address that he used to set up his Wikipedia account.
Mhm.
But everybody, is like reading this article and trusting that it's true and everything that they're reading is true. And yeah, they're trusting this journalist. But I mean, there's conflicts, like you said, there's conflicts of interest, like who took that story to the journalist, and the journalist thinking that there's some like criminal thing that he's uncovering when there's like not anything
Yeah,
criminal
I mean,
going
I think that people could, though, I think that people could look at that and say, I mean, the way that I looked at it, sometimes like, have I done, like I would equate it to like speeding or something like that. You know what? Hey, the speed limit's the speed limit, but everybody speeds. So if I don't want to get like knocked off the road here, I need to speed, you know?
on.
So I need to speed to in certain circumstances, right? I need to break the law, but I know that I'm being safe. Now, it's a slippery
Yeah.
slope doing that, right? It's a slippery slope, but like I looked at the whole thing and said, okay, I how did this happen? And is it plausible at least that this was all done in good faith and
It
just
was.
and
That was the
and
thing. I mean, my husband came out with his statement and he told it like it is. And anybody can fact check these. This is like public record, and Wikipedia has policies that you have to follow. And
oh, I
he's,
know.
I
I
mean,
was
me and my husband are good people. I mean, between my whistleblowing, I mean, we care about rules, we care about integrity. And I like the speeding analogy. When I drive, I'm like a grandma. I put my car on cruise control at the speed limit, and I don't care if people around me are speeding. I'm so like, this is it. I'm running. I'm
gotcha.
driving. Same with
But
my husband. I mean, he doesn't have any speeding tickets. I had one speeding ticket when I was 16, and it was an accident. And so,
I
yeah.
but I looked at the Wikipedia, the metadata or the behind the scenes write-ups and the complaints that the administrators were making and
The
requests for
accusations.
correcting issues. And I could see that like, I could see like that I probably would have gotten banned, because like, myself, but
Yeah,
understanding
it's
this though, I think
crazy.
also though, at the same time, just because I got banned and just because I went back on under a different, and I, this is not specific to what happened because I don't, with you guys specifically, whoever did what, like I could see like it was plausible to me that like I could sense an injustice in in being banned. Like I've been banned from stuff that I really shouldn't have. And that
Yeah, I mean, it was just
I could
false
start it up and
accusations.
you know,
Yeah,
but once that's done, I also understand that yeah, I was speeding, at the end of the day. Like, I also, for me, I have to understand that, yeah, whatever, I can, in my mind, knowing what my intentions were and knowing what happened here, I felt like justified in speeding, or whatever analogy you want to use for
the
that.
Can I
conditions. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
can
sorry.
I
Go ahead,
ask?
Anna. Yeah.
Yeah, just I'm interested in the tension between your like very focused sense of justice and rules, which I'm a lawyer, just to caveat. Like I
I
definitely
like
appreciate
lawyers
that.
generally.
Um,
Yeah, they're justice
but
system.
also there is a component here where also some people have to ask for exceptions to rules, right? Either perhaps medical exceptions or like
Yeah,
accommodations. And
yeah.
actually, when I was thinking about this before this call, I was actually harkening back to my law school days. I took a class in disability law and federal Indian law. Those were two of my favorite classes. And part of what I liked so much about those classes, which actually have nothing to do with what I do now, is that you had to think of we have to give something extra for certain people, but like how far do we
Absolutely.
go and what is the line there? So for
Yeah,
you, like
accommodations.
I know that, another potential thing that's been going on, in the past year is like requests for accommodations. And I'm
Yeah.
curious how you work that out internally because some people, I'm not saying me, like
The
might think
justice sensitivity.
there's
Yeah.
people are, someone's getting an exception. Like I would like a quiet place to go too, So where, like, how far does a race go to like accommodate or whatever, to accommodate for a disability, which is genuine and all that. I'm curious because I see kind of a tension here and I wonder how you work that out in your mind.
It worked that out of my mind. Yeah, I mean, I had to explain this recently to my PR representative because she didn't understand that either. I mean, I think it's somebody that has a disability as you're trying to achieve equity
Mhm.
in sports, you're trying to remove those unnecessary barriers to so that somebody that has a disability can thrive. And it might be, somebody that needs a ramp for their wheelchair. And for me, it's largely about like, my sensory accommodations. Like I don't want to be forced into an environment that causes me a lot of distress because it's like over too much sensory to me. And I just like want to have like space like away from that, like that I can go to if I need to like recharge. So yeah, it's about equity. And people that have disabilities that we have legal protections, fortunately, that, support us to have a reasonable accommodation, reasonable,
Right.
that's kind of a subjective term, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you're trying to explain it to people because people have tried to compare people don't understand because I have hidden disabilities that they don't understand that those have, the same legal protections as somebody that has a visible disability. And they may not think that my disabilities are as disabling. And it's really subjective and up to the person, like whether they need accommodations or not. I mean, I was talking with somebody about their ADHD and they said, well, I've learned how to support myself. I don't feel like I need accommodations. Whereas, like, I feel like I do. And it may depend on the environment too, like where I need accommodations. But it's really about trying to achieve that equity, remove those barriers so that somebody can thrive and to shine and, their strengths. So, yeah.
So just out of curiosity, like with the test, TRT, that is not like that's not allowed, right? But
Yeah.
you could say that
Not.
this person is just trying to get their testosterone up to like the normal level. How do we work on that? Like, how do we work that out?
Yeah, I mean, World Athletics, you're going by World Athletics and they just give a straight like blanket ban on
Yeah.
it. Um and yeah, I mean, it's the rules if you sign the race waiver for Cocodona 250 and they say they're applying, WADA code and you're an age grouper that's 55 to 60 years old and you're a male or a female taking hormone replacement therapy, you're agreeing to abide by those rules. And so yeah, I mean, I've seen women like even people accuse me like because I've been talking about hormone replacement therapy. They think they're like, oh, you're taking they just the name hormone replacement therapy is can be stigmatizing. I'm not taking testosterone. I know it's banned, but I do know women that are not competitive that are taking it.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, it's still is like if you're signing a race waiver, you're agreeing to abide by that. But yeah, people are
So you kind
talking
of,
about it. Yeah,
I mean, you
from
ultimately
a
might
health
have to make a choice. Like if you were competitive and you wanted to take that hormone, you just have to it's just a choice that you have to
yeah.
make. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to take testosterone. It's not allowed, and I'm
yeah,
competitive. And even if I wasn't competitive, I wouldn't take. You can get by doing hormone replacement therapy without testosterone. I
sure.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No,
So
it's like I don't know. I've been kind of fascinated by the Sage Cam debate and um thinking about what is fair. And it's funny, the word fair, I had at some point I used the word fair at a group of lawyers and like, we don't like that word fair. So I never really got to the bottom of why they don't like the word fair, but I actually think of fairness a lot in outcomes. That's my job is
yeah,
to figure out like what is a fair outcome. I use the word fair. I don't mind the word
yeah,
fair. What is a fair outcome for everybody involved? That's sort of my goal in a lot of what I do for just as my occupation. Um,
yeah.
but the
I'm
word
all about
equity also
fairness.
comes into play. And like you're saying, like it's putting people in the same place, essentially.
Yeah,
And
I
that might
mean,
be different than what's fair. So,
yeah,
you know,
like people try to compare my disabilities to somebody that has iron deficiency, and I'm like, I don't think iron deficiency counts as a disability. I don't think that's not the same thing. Uh, but or even like, should we allow like iron infusions? I mean,
Or
I don't know.
carbohydrates. How about carbohydrates?
Right?
That's the
At
root
one
of evil.
point, like that's crazy. And I think at one point, or maybe I don't think now, but UTMB used to like have the court system, and they used to not allow iron infusions, and I don't know, or even like ibuprofen. I mean, I go by World Athletics, or not World Athletics. I go by the WADA code, and what they say. You can't be taking. Another thing is, what is it, the IVs? Like I think there's
Yeah.
an athlete that she'd gone to one of those health things like before a race, and then they had drug tests at the race, and she had to disclose that she had gone and taken an IV, and she ended up getting like maybe a couple months ban or something
Huh.
from that. Um yeah, I mean,
IVs are critical. I mean, like I finished Boston one year and ended up passing out on my way to the medical tent and woke up with an IV in my arm and
yeah,
felt like a new man, you know?
after like the end of a race, like
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's I don't know what the WADA, I think WADA says it's like in a clinic, or in a medical setting is where it's
Mm.
okay. But at the end of a race, I mean, you go to comrades and they're giving out IVs, or even Spartathlon. They were when I won Spartathlon, they were giving out IVs, and I had to tell one of the guys that was on the podium, I was like, you're not supposed to do that. It's like that violates, and this is a Spartathlon's a gold labeled IAU gold labeled event, so they're
Mm.
under an IAU policy. So but a lot of athletes just don't know. They don't have the
Mm.
education. And Sage has been doing a lot of education. I've been sending him links and various things because I'm like pretty well informed on it. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy that people are like making it personal. They're putting their opinions in, and somebody talking about their medical condition and how desperate they were. Their health insurance didn't cover this, and they took this because they're friends. I mean, I think the culture of ultra trail contributes to being kind of more lax about drugs and various things.
Mm.
And I mean, it's a very like very social and like a community driven sport. And if your friend's doing it, then you think it's acceptable and okay. And um
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, and I think, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like the wild wild west. I mean, there's less rules, less sanctioning of events. And so yeah, it just creates kind of this culture of, and what we do is extreme too. What we do is really extreme. People are taking, stimulants and caffeine, and who knows, like
Yeah. So I
marijuana,
I
yeah,
wanted to, yeah,
cannabis.
I've seen people, I was manning an aid station and somebody ran up and wanted to know if we had a light so that it could smoke.
Spooky.
Okay, so not a cigarette,
Yeah.
you're gonna smoke
Oh,
some weed or something. So
oh yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
I feel like I've smelled weed when I've been
yeah.
out there.
Oh
Like they're
yeah,
doing it during races and
100%.
training.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah, it is interesting though. So
I
those
was
things are not, those things are not allowed. Now, how about like here's a question that I struggle with, right? So
Yeah.
as part of my ADHD, I take Vyvanse, okay, which is a stimulant,
Oh yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
to help with that. Um, and I know for a fact that if I don't take Vyvanse on the regular time that I'm supposed to take it, it's almost like I have the air let out of my tires. All of a sudden, I just start to fade really quickly. So
Yeah.
years ago, I used to feel really strange about it, wondering, like, is this, if is this something that I should be doing, but so it's something. So I wondered if you've ever taken, not to put you on the spot for this, but like
Yeah.
with ADHD, like a normal course of action would be to take medication for that, just like banned substance is inhalers. And there's many athletes who use inhalers.
Yeah, I don't have any tea. Well, first off, I don't even know. Yeah, I think it is. I think you'd have to look up WADA, the global DRO, because that's like a stimulant. Is that right? I
Yeah.
think it is. I don't personally take any mental health medications, and
Hmm.
I don't feel like I need any mental health medications. I
Hmm.
feel like I just manage it lifestyle, and I I will say, like, caffeine, I did realize, like, I have a different response to caffeine, and I find, like, getting my diagnosis helped me understand that I can have like a coffee in the evening time, and it kind of does the same thing, I guess, as like the drugs, the stimulants. It just like makes my mental clarity like so much more focused,
Yep.
and I sleep well. Actually, I can have like a late
Hmm.
night coffee or espresso, and it knocks me out. I end up sleeping better because otherwise my brain is just like overdrive at night. I'm really hyperactive at nighttime. So
Yes.
I feel like I've learned to like maybe like caffeine has really kind of helped me. That's like a natural way that I um try to manage my mental health. And I like, even when I came out with my diagnosis, that somebody was accusing me of like, oh, you found out you're ADHD so you can take stimulants. I was like, no. It's
Yeah.
like that's not.
It is, what I
And
think.
there's nothing wrong too. I mean, if a doctor prescribes you any kind of medication, I mean, that's what your doctor recommends. And who cares about the judgment of
Yeah.
other people?
For me, it was life changing when I almost, as a quick thing, diagnosed with ADHD. I was running into severe issues at work. Was on a management plan, almost going to lose my job. Um,
Wow.
I went to my doctor and
Way
said,
to
I don't know what
go.
to do. I don't want to be on
Yeah.
medication. And she says, I think you should try it one more time. I tried it and it turned around my professional career. And I went from
Wow.
almost being
Way to
fired to
go.
being the top salesman in the US, Canada, and Mexico for my company
Right on.
because of
Right
the
on.
medication and therapy. So I can't say,
Yeah.
like, if I ever had any doubts, I don't, and I'm the last one. I hate the idea of being on medication, but for me, it was an
Life
absolute
changing.
life. It was a life
That's
changing
awesome.
experience. So, you know,
So
it,
I have a question because I read like articles about those types of medication can like impact like your heat, like your hydration, like your heat tolerance. Do you have any like side effects to it? Like,
that's a great
I'm just,
question.
yeah, I'm really curious.
It's my normal. It's been my normal for years. And I do
Okay.
struggle. It's interesting. I never heard that before, but I do
Yeah.
struggle with the heat. I sweat more than anyone known in human history, and
So it could
and I
be
do struggle. Yeah, and
maybe.
I do struggle with the heat. So
Yeah, and
it
I
could be
like being in
related.
Tucson. I mean, I haven't even tried or experimented
Mm.
like with any of that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to like manage it lifestyle
Yeah,
wise.
yeah. If
Yeah.
it, I and it's also a different thing. Obviously, you know,
I
whatever. It's
like the
not
only
my
thing,
career. So
yeah, I mean, the only thing I take is the estrogen or estradiol and the progesterone. Those are
mhm.
not, I don't have to have a TUE, or those aren't banned at all. They're just female hormones. So,
Gotcha,
uh,
gotcha.
yeah. And when I go through, I've been through 18 I'm probably one of the most drug tested for a sport that doesn't have much drug testing. I'm one of the few athletes that is drug tested because I'm doing things that are
Yes.
sanctioned World Athletic Rules. I've been through 14 record ratifications, I have 18 drug tests. I've been drug tested out of competition. I was
Mhm.
in USADA's out of competition testing pool for 3 years
Yeah.
when I was a marathoner. I mean, I've been through lots of education. I'm
Mhm.
trying to speak up in good faith and out of deep care for the sport and why the
Mhm.
rules matter. And I'm being personally attacked I've had so many like different like accusations throughout my career, even when I'm setting world records, and people are like, oh, she's probably taking, I mean, that's just kind of
Yeah,
normalized.
of course. I think that
Yeah.
anytime, Lance Armstrong, I mean, here's the thing is that it's hard to know because like
That's like the
everybody
highest
accused
level.
Lance Armstrong, and I always said, oh, it's just because he's so successful. But he's been tested so many times that he hasn't done anything. And then he was fine. But and now Tadej Pogacar is just riding off the front of the tour. And it's like it's unbelievable and too good to be true. So it is the natural thing. I mean, he hasn't, I don't know, but he appears to not have, he hasn't had any flags or anything like that, but he does have the best training, the best technology, the best everything that you can buy, nutrition, sleep, recovery,
Yeah.
and a
They
gift.
I
So
don't know if you saw like the guy that and I'm not good with names in the cycling, but he
mhm.
was drug tested at like 2 a.m. in the
Yeah,
morning because they were talking about the half-life of
Jonas
certain.
Jonas
Oh,
Vindigo.
Yeah, and then he didn't sleep that night and he
And
got into a crash.
yes, he crashed out.
And
Yep.
I mean, it's like, and I mean, yeah, these teams, these athletes have like the best of everything. They're probably like doing like blood spot testing to
Yeah.
know if something's like cleared their system. I mean,
Yeah.
but
And
we're an ultra trail. I don't know.
nobody cares.
I wouldn't even know. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been out of competition. I was out of competition tested before my 6 day race. I didn't know that was going to happen. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, I'm just like, whatever. I'm not taking any drugs or anything. I'm not doing anything. So whatever.
there's also just the question of like who wants to put how many resources into this going forward if you just want to change the rules in the ultra trail sport, you know,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
where does the
and
money come from to do all these things? And
yeah. I mean I feel like with like UTMB, I mean it's really good that like Western States, UTMB, they've really gotten their shit together the past couple of years because the
Yeah.
athletes are speaking up and professionalization. So like the actual top races are investing the resources. And I
Mm.
mean, I just think from a policy standpoint, and policy is like free. It's not difficult to to have rules that protect the safety, the integrity of the sport. I mean, the
Mm.
Cocodona 250, that's an extreme event.
All of a sudden that like really, really blew up this year, right? I
Oh,
mean, so
everybody's
I
like,
think,
"Oh, are you doing the Cocodona too?" Like, I'm still having to like cement in my mind, because it still is a newer race,
yes.
and being from Arizona, everybody's like, "Oh, you gotta go do the Cocodona 250." So, I mean, I want to do it. I
Okay, good
still,
question.
I
That's a
still
great question. So,
I mean, I'm still, my mind is still focused on Western States, like
mhm.
doing, like, I'm like, I'll be 45 next year. I've got maybe a couple years left before I could, like,
Yeah, you got to do
shift
the fast
away.
stuff. You got to do the fast, short stuff like Western States
Yeah.
before you move into
And,
Cocodona, right?
and I mean, I like at some point, like, I feel like I really need to like focus on ultra trail because I feel like I've always just kind of done it as like bouncing back and forth and not really specializing. But I mean, the women are leveling up now, and
Yes.
it's like if I want to be competitive, I gotta level up. I'm literally like could be my competitor's mom or be a grandma at this point. I mean, if anybody's
They'd
like
be lucky.
under 30 or
Yeah.
under, I'm like, I could be your mom.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Oh my gosh. Hey, I do have to ask you a question because I know I always think about like people listening to the show and why like because sometimes I listen to the show and I'm like, well, why how about this art? Like, what you gotta ask this question. So we're talking about adherence to rules
Yeah.
and the importance of that. So I got to ask you about Wikipedia and their rules. Like, they have a thing that says that you're not allowed to modify your own profile, right? Or you're not, or your friends aren't allowed to modify. You're not allowed to modify the profile of one of your friends, I believe it is, or somebody who works, an employee. So I wondered if, first of all, if you thought that that was a reasonable rule on their part, in your opinion, do you think that's a reasonable rule that they have that or no?
Well, I didn't, when Connor created his account, I mean, I don't know what the rules were, right? I mean, that was like 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And I mean, maybe, I don't even know. I mean, I guess like when he thought it was acceptable to create his account, and
Understood.
yeah, and from a like PR and marketing and the accuracy of your page or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
like he said, he stated it like it is. He just created
Yes.
his account to update it and didn't think anything of it. And it's not like he's a admin, I didn't even
Yes.
realize
Yeah.
like, and I don't even know. I mean,
But I get that.
yeah.
Like, who's gonna, like, if you guys don't update, or if if he doesn't update that, like, who is out there that is going to know that because you have there's like 20,
Like
so many world bet. Yeah, there's so much information that, like, it's I don't like I couldn't I'm not like a complete dumbass in the sport, but it would be a major project for me to be able to really identify what to specifically put down under your profile. So
you need to
who
have
else is
people
going to
that
do
are
it besides
not
you guys?
like you need to have and I was on the USATF women's
Yeah.
LVR committee, and we had to sign conflict of interest forms to disclose any like financial any relations with USATF. But we
Yeah.
still have people on the committee we have athletes, we have people from all different,
Yeah.
and so like you still need to have like knowledgeable people that are involved. And
Yes.
from what I can tell with Wikipedia, it's the same thing. Like, you need to have like, you can't just like you can't just have like random. I mean, from what I could tell, I don't even know who these people are. And they're like removing like accurate, well-sourced parts of my biography. And Connor was adding it back in. And
Yes.
so yeah, I mean, I just think it's kind of I don't even know how Wikipedia works. It just seems like it's like kind of weird. Um and yeah, and I don't know, like I guess that their whole issue was like the conflicts of interest. And I guess like I don't even know, like you were supposed to like update your page or something to like disclose that. And I mean, Connor created his account a long time ago. Maybe he didn't know that.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing is, like the person that was like started this whole dispute, he was a trail runner who was a
Hmm.
longtime admin, and he wasn't disclosing his conflicts of interest being a trail runner on his page. So
Mm.
he's like attacking and making these accusations towards Connor, but he himself had conflicts of interest and he's an admin, so he should know this. He should know
Yeah.
to disclose that. So
Yeah.
it's just this bias. And but yeah, I mean, I think like what was happening on Wikipedia is, it goes to show like how standout women are attacked and cut down and bullied. And and this guy was a trail runner, and he was doing this. And yeah, I mean, it's just a reflection of life too, and how like standout women are, attacked and cut down. And same thing, within our sport. I'm constantly throughout my career, I've been my achievements have been diminished, and people are going on these personal accusations and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's hard being a woman. It's hard being a standout woman. It's hard being neurodivergent and having a different mindset. And how people, for me, I'm somebody that greatly values truth too.
Hmm.
And so when people make these like false accusations towards me, that is like
Yeah.
upsetting. I'm like, if you want to know the truth, you need to ask me directly rather than trusting your
Oh,
friend or somebody
let
else.
can I
So
let me ask you. I want to ask you
Oh,
something directly then. So, um, like, one of the I think the thing that ruffled feathers, right, was the modification of um Courtney's page and some others in order to make them um uh on parity, or to make them the same as what yours was, right? Your page said, is a ultra is a and excuse me for not getting this exactly right, but yours said is an ultra is a ultra runner, right? It was like a plain Jane statement that
I
they settled on, and hers said widely considered one of the greatest trail and ultra runners, or one of the top runners or something to that effect, and that they weren't similar, but by your records and by hers, they're different. You guys have slightly different skill sets, but both the accolades should be, if you have 23 world records or bests, or however many it was at the time or is, that puts you in an argument, to have the same accolades in a lot of ways. So, like, was that change, when those changes were made, is that, what do you think about that? Was that a fair thing that was done, or should that not have been done? Or would you do it differently? Or would you like to have seen that happen in a different way now?
I mean, I think Connor was just like looking at the rules and the policies of Wikipedia, and the language is supposed to be neutral. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was just a matter of upholding the integrity of Wikipedia, and
Mm-hmm.
like you said, the fairness and the parity. So I mean, that's my understanding of what,
Yeah.
and the thing is, when you edit on Wikipedia, you have to give like the when I deep dived on, what do you call that? You have to give like the
IP address,
what you call it? It's like the
IP address
explanation.
or something. Oh,
It's
okay.
no,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like the
The
explanation
talk.
of
Yeah.
why you edit, why you're edit, and so yeah, I don't remember what the language was for that. But yeah, I mean, all of this started because of this dispute. There was that these removals on my page, and
Mm-hmm.
and then he just looked at other pages and it's like, well, why are you not doing this to the other pages?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I
Which,
mean, as an editor, I mean, you're supposed to act in good faith and according to, the policies for the accuracy, the neutrality, the sourcing. And so yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it's just the way that the journalists like played that up. But then I mean, the fact that they were accusing me of doing it when it's Connor,
mhm.
and it was because of this like false misattribution of Connor's email address to me. And yeah, I mean, just the story was just like
Mm.
wrong. And I mean, that's why I have a defamation lawsuit.
Can I
Um, yeah.
can I ask, looking back, like not specific details, but on a macro level, do you think like it would have maybe been different in a better way if I'd done something differently? Like, do you look back and think like, I kind of I understand why sometimes you actually can't be totally transparent, because that could be harmful to you as a person potentially. But I'm just curious, like looking back, like what do you think might, if anything, have made anything better? um,
I I don't know. I mean, I like at that time it was just so confusing at the time. Like I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't really understand. I mean, and things like happened so quickly. But yeah, I mean, I had such the events like happened so fast, and I ended up Connor felt coerced to make a statement, and he wonders, well, what if I hadn't made a statement? I don't know. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was legally told not to communicate. I mean, that like
right.
what happened was harmful. It's caused like personal, professional harm to me, and from
Yes.
a legal standpoint, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this even happened. But yeah, I mean, I have my legal matters now to address that, and yeah, my defamation case is public record, and anybody can access that and read and I mean, everything has been like thoroughly vetted, the timeline, the evidence, the facts, the truth about it.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, if anything that's in the legal system, you're like swear to oath or whatever. So yeah, and me having justice sensitivity, I feel like the justice system is the way to go to address things in a proper manner, especially when they're sensitive. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's like this conflict between what comes out in the public versus, what is sensitive and needs to be, vetted within the
Right.
justice system.
Exactly. No, it's
Gotcha.
important for people to be reminded that you can be like, you can't just think, why aren't they telling me everything, all the details? Like, why aren't they just giving us all the information. There may be an actual valid reason why they might not want to do that.
Yeah.
They, not you necessarily, but people
yeah.
in a position of something dramatic happening.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it was just, everybody's like, I was never interviewed, and I had to get off social media for like 5 months from a safety standpoint. I was being abused, and even like at present, I continued to be bullied, harassed, falsely
Yes.
accused. Everything within social media spreads like wildfire and within the community, and I continue to have to cope with that, and how that, and being a neurodivergent person, it's like highly inflammatory towards me and my nervous system. And
Mm.
especially somebody that values truth, and trying to explain myself. And but yeah, I mean, I think that's something. I mean, I don't get to talk about it on social media, but I've experienced a tremendous amount of abuse and trauma from this. I mean, for me as a neurodivergent, like making these false accusations, the way it
Yeah.
dysregulates my nervous system. And I need to publicly acknowledge that, because I feel like as women, we're made to feel like we can't talk about what we're experiencing. And but yeah, I mean, it's caused me a lot of trauma. It's impacted my mental, my emotional
Yeah.
health,
Camille,
professionally.
if
So
if this did not impact you emotionally, like here's
it
what
would
I
be
hear.
normal.
Oh my God. No,
It's not
that's
normal.
like the understatement of the year. Like there's people out there. I know, we all know people who go out and break world records, like set a court, David Roche will tell you, oh, he you know, breaks this course record that's been standing for years and years. And he gets all this positive feedback. And then he gets 2 negative comments, and those just like eat him up.
Yeah.
Okay, just 2 little comments. What happened with
Just
you
as
was like,
yeah.
they just seemed to find this and that and the other thing. And each person's trying to be more hateful and more ugly than the one that preceded them to make it, and then just piling on. And it's so far from what the actual truth was that like I felt physically impacted after experiencing it through
Yeah.
just by reading that. I was like, holy crap, are we this ugly here in this? What
And
happened to my community here? Where's the love?
yeah.
And whatever. And that doesn't mean like somebody, I think a reasonable person, right or wrong, could make an argument and say, you know what, Camille didn't, or Camille in the general brand or whatever, maybe, didn't do everything right here. Like, okay, I might be of the opinion no one should ever say anything about Courtney or about Killian or anything like that, right? And no matter what it is, nobody should say that, and that could be a wrong opinion. Somebody can feel that way about it and say that shouldn't happen. But still, there's no reason to be as to be as hateful for that. So
Yeah.
as that was, I was
And
so disappointed.
like, so I mean, like, this was basically a character assassination towards me. It was retaliation because of my whistleblowing during the weeks before. And the people that I reported, they were smearing me after this defamatory story came out. And one of them was quoted in the article. I mean, like you said, there were these very conflicted people trying to assassinate my character because these personal attacks. And it was really just a distraction from what they were doing, that I was reporting
Correct.
their misconduct. And yeah, I mean, I like, in my mind, I should be celebrated because I reported this, as a whistleblower. And yeah, and I mean, it's like was it the cancel culture, like this. I mean,
100%.
I think it's gonna like come out, that if I'm gonna, like, there's gonna be a comeback, there's gonna be vindication, there's gonna be like people. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I've been trying to speak up, and finally like being allowed to speak, because my lawyers have been like, don't talk about this. But I mean, and there's nothing that, like, there was never any, I've always been a transparent person. I've always been able to hide, but there's also legal reasons for why, I can't like get into so much of the details or like name
Understood.
names or, and it's not my demeanor to smear people. I mean, I
Yeah.
was trying to report this privately and manage it privately, and then they're the ones that were going on these personal attacks and
Yes.
smearing towards me. And I mean, that's not, I wasn't going to manage things publicly. I thought this is a private matter that needs to be managed properly. And that's the way I handled it. And I hope people understand that, and our governing bodies have policies and rules for reporting and whistleblowing. And I was just following, what their policies said to do. And yeah, that's why I'm not the type to publicly smear and harm. I don't
Gotcha.
personally want
Yeah.
to harm. I need to make that clear. I'm not the type of person. I'm a hyper empath. I don't want to harm anybody. It's not personal. I don't want to smear. I'm trying to handle things in a proper way. That's my demeanor. But yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate just seeing like what Sage is experiencing. And I mean,
Yes.
he's acting in good faith.
Yeah.
He cares. He understands. I mean, he knows what it's like to be cheated and to see athletes and yeah, I mean, if you the statistically, if it's like 1 out of 10 are probably taking a PED or violating. So if you have 10,000 people applying to entry at Western states, you've got 1,000 people that are taking a
Yeah.
PED. So to say that it doesn't impact you, it definitely impacts you. If you've ever entered a race or a lottery,
Hmm.
you are impacted because of the people that violate the rules. So
Gotcha. Hey, I had a question for you, and I tried to find this answer and I couldn't quite get a clear on this, but you might know the 48-hour women's record by Rex Stein, right? I believe.
no, and
Uh,
Patricia
oh,
Beresnowska, she broke
yes,
it last year. Yeah.
understood. She
And
has
she
it,
legitimately broke it.
but
And I
the
love Patricia.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear. So, but
Yeah.
the prior result, was that result ever certified?
No. So that
So just
race,
to wait, I want to
gotta
pause on that
make it
and
clear
recognize that that was at the center of
the
like your
controversy.
unpardonable sin. One of the massive fucking things that you did humanity was to question whether this whether this attempt followed all of the rules necessary in order to be recognized like your event, like your efforts had done in the past.
Yeah.
And you raised that, and everybody, there were many people who said, oh, who is she to say that, and she's putting down people. But like you were
Not a
saying, listen, rules
chance.
kind of, in this case, like rules do matter for it. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring up the fact that that has not been, still to this day, 2 years later, it's not been
Yeah.
ratified. And maybe people involved with it were also some of the ones who were shoveling giant heaps of
Exactly.
bullshit.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate you. I
okay.
appreciate
All
you
right.
saying it.
I just
So
wanted to make that, I wanted to enter that into the record here before we
so
go too far. So
yeah, I mean, what the thing about that race is it was not record eligible even before the race. The event
I
wasn't
understand.
sanctioned. It did not have the IU label. So everybody that went into that race knew that it was not record eligible. And they were basically gaslighting the public by claiming that my record was broken and they were tagging
Yes.
me. And to me, to be making false claims and gaslighting the public, that is upsetting to me as a
Yes.
neurodivergent person. And
But
if it had been record eligible and they would have complied with the rules, I would have gladly celebrated it. I've celebrated Miho Nakata when she broke my 24-hour record. I celebrated Patricia Beresnowska. So going on these personal attacks towards
yes.
me is that is not it. I've always celebrated other women. And yeah, this was a situation where they should not have been making those false claims. Not only was
Yeah.
it not record eligible, but it was also they were allowing pacing assistance during that
Yeah.
race, and there was a
And
lot of evidence with that.
I'm glad that you could kind of bring some clarity to that. And I'm glad to also just, let that get out there. But also on the other side, though, although it was not a record, it was not officially a record, you still, I would say, feel that her athletic accomplishment was still notable and it was still a great run, right? I mean,
I don't feel that way. She was receiving pacing assistance and it was very obvious. I mean, both by splits and then also on social posts. The course wasn't measured. It wasn't remeasured according. Let's make this clear. They did not follow World Athletic rules.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I did
Otherwise, they
not
would have had the.
celebrate. I did not celebrate athletes that don't comply with the rules. I feel very strongly about that. It
Mhm.
was very obvious she was not complying. And that the thing is the officials weren't doing anything about it. And
Yes.
when my husband spoke with one of the people, one of the leaders after the race, it was
Mhm.
very clear that he didn't understand the rules. And yeah, it was really shocking by that this guy is publicly portraying himself as being a leader in the sport and as being official, but he didn't have any understanding of the ratification process and the rules. Um,
Understood.
yeah, so
And okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Um,
I'm sorry if I'm using language that people don't
no,
understand, but
no,
I have to know this
I
because
know you
I
do. I know you do. And that's
And
why
it's
it's, oh, I'm
oh
sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
it's not like you can't find the rules, right? I mean, if you want to know the
yeah,
rules, you can find the rules, I'm
I,
assuming.
yeah,
So when you I
yeah.
guess it's confusing. Do you think that people are don't know the rules or they know them and they just don't care about
no,
following them? Like,
I don't think that people care enough as I do.
correct.
Like
Yes,
okay.
that is it. That is it 100%.
But
But
I
go,
really, I really care. Like I'm telling you, I've kept my training log to 6 decimal places for 31 years because all those numbers to me matter because of accuracy. I don't want to
six
cheat lies.
places.
I don't cheat lies still. I want to follow, and I don't think that other people have that kind of care or
Yeah.
that kind of like understanding why it matters, but it does. Especially like I mean, could you imagine if the marathon, if they were bending the rules for world records? I mean, like, yeah,
That
you have so much on the line professionally, and they're not going to. I mean, there was a guy that set a unofficial world record in the half marathon, but he was
mhm,
apparently it was not ratified because he was too close to the pace car, and they considered that drafting and pacing assistance not allowed. They
sure.
didn't they didn't ratify it.
got it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, athletes are looking for ways to like cheat and yeah, I mean, there's so much on the line um and yeah, the thing is like I'm speaking up in good faith and I know the rules. I've been through 14 record ratifications. Like I said, I've had my performances not be ratified for whatever reason. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that's why the ratification process exists to go through that due process of vetting whether performance follow the rules. But I can definitely tell you that 48-hour performance from it was not record eligible. It didn't even have the basics to be a record. And so yeah.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
maybe like there's the continuum of the sports marathon where the rules are adhered to a T, and then as you go
Hmm.
along toward the trail ultra, people are just not used to caring as much. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
I mean it's a cultural difference. Like I said, it's like the wild wild west of lack of, but
right.
the sport is going to have to progress towards world athletics as it becomes more professionalized. It's kind of like our sport is where the marathon was like back in the 70s. I mean, you used to be able to get, a Coca-Cola, a flat Coke from your family member at, whatever point in a
mhm.
marathon. And you hear these stories about like was it like Tom Fleming at the used to get like some sort of cola formula handed to him.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's literally what our sport is. I mean, you seen like was it like Hard Rock one year? Some guy got
Yes.
like some water.
DQ'd because they took water outside of the zone.
Yeah, I mean that's like the way the marathon was at one time in the 70s, and at least our sport that they do when they do enforce the rules, like it's good, and but there still is like situations where
It's yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I gotcha. Um,
yeah.
let's see, Camille. Before as we got to kind of draw this to a close for today. I'd love
I
to have you
enjoyed
back
chatting with
on.
you. I
Yeah, I'd
appreciate it.
love.
I is there anything that you have that the community like I want to clarify anything with the community that is like people questions. I sometimes I go and look back at these and people like are making all these like personal attacks or saying, and I really don't care about people's opinions
Yeah,
at this
here's
point.
what yeah. Here's
Yeah.
what's going to happen is that like there are going to be people who listen and you know what may change their mind, and there's going to be people who this confirms what they already know in their dealings with you, and then there's going to be people that there's nothing in it. We could be on here for 10 hours and show them certified everything. So like each of us
And
are
fourth
not.
fourth category, people who have more questions
Oh yes.
More
after this,
questions
after listening to this,
to
bring up
answer.
questions, good questions, possibly.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true. So if you do have questions, send them to me, send them to me, and we'll set up
Or
another
like
time to
a
sit down.
ask Camille anything kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that I want to answer people's questions. And if there's something that's like not clear, like I hope I've spoken clearly. I really, I gotta say, like, my husband's a wonderful person. I'm
Mhm.
still married to him. I've been together. We've been together for 25 years, and he's a fierce defender of me. He's a
Yes.
fierce defender of women in general. I mean, he's somebody. He said that if he's got back into going to races, that I mean, if anybody did anything to me, I mean, he would be the first to stand up for me. Uh, so
He's
he's
a
a good
stand-up
per
guy.
he's a really great guy, and all this like public smearing and acting like he had some sort of like malicious Wikipedia account. That wasn't it at all. And I mean, yeah. And he apologized when he made a statement 2 years ago. He apologized out of respect for the athletes that were mentioned and brought up in that article. And like he said, I mean, he told it like it is, and he was just acting in good faith and didn't think anything wrong of what he was doing. And it's just the way that people portrayed it. And then yeah, it's really unfortunate what happened. But there's gonna be a vindication arc, and I've tried to make my comeback, and it was really great to come to the Vermont 100 and had a great experience. And yeah, I've just got to keep going with it, and best is yet to come. So
I
Awesome.
think part of just one last thing, like some people have trouble understanding a style that's different than theirs or one that they particularly admire. And so, for example, this continuum, like Wild Wild West, some people like the Wild Wild West and they just want it to be that way. And
and
I
singers.
hope, hopefully, like as time goes on, including through answering potential questions, like you can make people understand that perhaps your style or your husband's style is different than theirs,
Mindset.
but there's a rationale. I mean, I'm just pointing out the style concept because to me that's what I'm
Yeah.
seeing with the sage cam thing. They're totally
Yeah.
different styles, and yeah, I don't
True.
know, it creates like just it creates a situation where people really aren't paying attention necessarily to the substance. So
Yeah. And like I said, it's really just about safety and integrity. Like why did we go from the Wild Wild West to to having like laws in society? You got to have law and order. And yeah, it's really just about we can't have gunslingers. Like I can't imagine if life is like a bunch of gunslingers. I mean, maybe there's countries like that are still like that don't have don't have laws. And like um but yeah, it's really the rules exist for safety and integrity and fairness. And yeah, I don't have anything more to. I don't see what's wrong with that. But another thing to mention is like there is a due process for getting like TUEs for medical substances that you need to take. But BPC 157 is not one of them. You can't get a TUE for that. That's like it's not even approved. Like hasn't been through clinical trials. So.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Camille,
Sorry,
thank you.
sorry to end on that. We're like talking
No,
like
no,
really technical, but
it's
I tell you, I am a fun-loving person.
I
I
know.
like to have a good beer. Amy gave me a good beer after the finish. I I just
Yes.
lay I shared pictures of me just like laying there, and I just like had a beer. And Yeah,
Vermont has some really good beer. I love beer too,
oh,
by the
they did
way.
too.
So I
Oh my
do love the
gosh.
Vermont beer.
I hope you
It's
come
so
back to
good.
Vermont, and I hope you come and run that again.
Absolutely.
You
I
know,
want to run
that
it.
would
I
be
mean,
great.
I don't even know, like, I mean, I'd love to run it every year. I had such a fun time, and like middle of July is like a really good time. There's a
Excellent.
guy, there's a guy that's doing the Grand Slam. I want to do like the Grand Slam of hundreds. So if I get
Oh,
back
good.
into Western states, then it's
Yes.
like I have to do the Grand Slam.
Okay. I would agree with that. That sounds like a good positive way
Yeah.
to end this. So Camille, thanks again. Anna, thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
And to all of our listeners out there
Yeah. Thanks for
today,
listening.
thank you so much for listening. If you've
Appreciate
made
you,
it
Art
this
and Anna.
if you've made
Yeah,
it this
thank you.
far, of course, seek professional help. And
This
we
is a
will
long run.
see
I
you all in a
Mile and a
mile and
half.
a half.
Do we not talk?
You can talk. It's kind of the voiceover.
That's funny.
All right. We did
Woo!
it.
Oh gosh, I haven't done this is like a Scott Kamer 10 check miles long run.
Oh my God. Yeah, there you
I
go.
haven't done it. I haven't done a like I think my record with him was like 5.5 hours.
Yes, yes. I had breakfast with him. I traveled to Chicago about a month during Western States,
Oh yeah.
right after Western States. He flew back the night
Okay.
before, and he and I had breakfast in Chicago. So it was good to
Awesome.
catch up with him. So,
Yeah. Oh gosh.
you know,
I think I've done like a couple long runs with him. Not in a recent year, but maybe the one we did 5.5 hours. Like what happened was there was an ice storm that day and our flight got canceled and like moved to the evening time. And so we like podcasted in the morning time. My flight got canceled and then we went and had Chinese food
oh my
in
gosh.
in Chicago. It was awesome. Then we came back and like podcast another like 2.5 hours. So
Oh my gosh.
it
Very
was
good.
awesome. No, it wasn't. It was fun time too, like hanging out with Scott. He's great.
Yeah, yeah. No, he is one of my inspirations to do the podcast as well. So,
Yeah.
um,
Appreciate having like a East Coast, like trying to think I did like is it East Coast Trail Runner? There was like I've done
oh
a
yeah,
couple of
yeah.
East Coast.
Ryan Pluckelman years
Yes,
ago. Yeah.
yes. Like many years ago. I think I feel like I've done a few others that were East Coast based. Um
But Cultra's
yeah.
your favorite, right? We could
Yeah.
hear you say
Culture,
that.
yeah, I just like the name. Like I just like the culture. Like, do you guys have like merchandise and stuff?
We
Like
do.
you
Yes.
do. And at one time, so when I got into the sport, everybody was like getting me trucker hats. And I
Oh,
at one
okay.
point I had a lot of I was literally going to races. Everybody's like giving me trucker hats. I had a East Coast, Beast Coast trucker
Oh.
hat. And I like because I like moved a couple times. I don't even know where all my trucker hat. I think they eventually like ended up. I don't know what happened. I actually sometimes I like gave my trucker hats away, it's like gifting, and I might like bring a bunch of trucker hats and be like, hey, let's swap trucker hats. So I've just
Yes.
lost, but I had this great like East Coast, Beast Coast one that I wish I still had. It was cool. I think I got it at Western States. It was like some East Coast
Oh, that was
trail runner.
probably uh oh my gosh, who would have done that?
It
What's her
was
name?
really cool.
I know who did it
Yeah,
too. She probably had a neck tattoo as a joke too.
probably. Oh,
The
I
oh
can
my
picture
gosh,
it in
what's her
my
name? The
head.
something Nader. She was on the 24-hour team and ran.
Who is that?
Yeah, it was her
I
first
don't
year and she did
remember.
pretty well. Um, oh, oh gosh, why can't I think of her name? She had a nickname called the eight something and a aider.
Nader, who is it?
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
know who it
Oh,
was.
Maggie
Oh,
Goodall.
Maggie, was it Maggie Goodall?
Oh,
Oh, yes,
Maybe.
yeah.
yes. Maggie's from the East Coast.
Yes.
It could have been from Maggie. I
Yeah.
don't remember. I
Magatron.
remember
Magatron.
training.
Megatron is what it was.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think
Thank
you're
you.
right. I think it could have been. I don't remember. because I do know Maggie.
Yeah.
It was such a long time ago. It was like maybe 2017 when I got the hat. Somebody gave it the East Coast. I thought it was a cool hat though.
Yes.
I
Yes.
wouldn't mind if
Yeah.
there's like a more like that's like the one hat I wish I had.
I'll
But I'll get a Culture. Culture would be cool.
I'll set you up with the Culture one. So
Yeah,
if you send me your
awesome.
address, I'll shoot you one over. So
Cool. I appreciate
so
that. Like I'm trying to think like can I give you guys anything? Where you're from like Connecticut and is that right?
Connecticut.
Where's Anna? Where are you from?
I'm from Connecticut too. I want to
Oh,
say
cool.
something. I love Arizona and have been to Tucson
Uh,
a few times, and I actually have a hot plate that says I love it. It's like a graffiti that says I love you, but then they cross it out. You've probably seen this. They cross it out and they write tacos, which I love. That's like I do actually love tacos. And
that feels
my
so good
husband, when
here.
he's like, I don't know if I like that, I was like, it's funny, obviously. The person loves tacos more than they love any human being. I don't know.
I
Oh.
do. I like everybody's always like sending me like taco stuff. I actually read about tacos on like my college questionnaire. Like I found it like from when I ran in college and I had like to fill out some questionnaire and I read about
Uh,
my love for tacos. So it's a lifetime
Oh my
lifetime love
gosh.
affair.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So there's
Well,
some history
if you're
there.
in Arizona, it's like you're pretty spoiled with your tacos.
Ah,
I mean, we have
oh,
Yes.
some good taco
the
places
food
here,
is
but
great. Oh yeah, yeah. They were forewarning me when I was up there. They're like, yeah, I don't think you want to try the Mexican food up here.
Very good.
It's funny.
So
Awesome.
I was going to use a picture, maybe that I took at the, maybe I'll take a snapshot from, you running through the aid station or something
Oh
like that, if
yeah,
that
from
works.
Vermont. Yeah,
Yeah, if that works.
with
I
my
was gonna.
tie
Oh,
dye.
I had to ask you about the tie dye too. I didn't ask you that one.
Yeah.
Like, where
No,
did
I
that come
always
from?
like I've always loved tie dyes, but like yeah, I mean when I think of Vermont, I think of like tie dye. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
like
uh,
Ben and Jerry's,
yeah,
Jerry
yeah, Ben
Garcia,
Jerry
or
Garcia.
Cherry Garcia ice cream,
Jerry
right?
Garcia. Yeah. Yeah. That's like
Very good.
that was like my vibe. I actually like I flew there in my fish t-shirt and flying to Burlington in a fish t-shirt. I was like, I'm definitely wearing my fish t-shirt for that.
Oh, nice. Oh, good, good.
And then some guy contacted me this morning and told me there's like some running club for fish fans.
oh,
So he like sent me some he like heads somebody sent him a screenshot of me and my fish t-shirt. And so apparently like the running community like
Yes.
has like a group for fish fans.
Yeah, Fred Marolo, who I don't know.
Oh yeah, I know Fred.
Yeah, Fred. He's Grateful Dead and Fish and the whole thing. So he might have some ideas about that as well, like what that group is. So
Yeah, it's
for
called
sure.
the Antelope Running Club, I think.
Oh, okay.
Some guy sent me a link this morning.
Oh, nice. Good.
So,
Good deal.
yep,
So I'll probably drop this in the next within the week, I hope. So
cool.
and then I'll shoot out the whole link to it and everything like that. So
Awesome. Yeah,
okay.
it's fun. It's fun talking with
thank you
y'all
so
and
much.
Yeah, thank you,
appreciate
Camille.
your
Really
time.
appreciate
And
it.
I like even connecting virtually. It's like it was so cool. It was so cool to like see you in person. I was like really ecstatic about that. I was
I
like,
was ecstatic that you like remembered who I was
of
or like gave me
course.
Mhm.
recognition, and the fact that it was in front of like 6 of my friends too. I have to say that helped the ego a lot. It was like Camille
Nice.
Herron's like fawning over me, and I'm like, holy crap, this is like I've
So
arrived
funny.
now, so
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging around. You found the best damn trail show that we've ever found. We're 112% listener powered pride. No corporate suits, no sponsors hitching a ride. You'll never hear us pitch some magazine. You'll never read Canadian trail fishing ain't exactly what you need. No pheasant tin rash cream or miracle cure in sight. Just trail talk, bad jokes, and jackassing every night. Patreon keeps the wheels turning, keeps this podcast alive. Make muddy shoes and blisters, just part of the plan. When you see our podcast famous patrons on the trail, give them all a high five, buy them one good athletic ale. Jump into the Facebook page and tell us where you've been. Show us all your jackasing, let the nonsense begin. Patreon keeps the wheels turning, keeps this podcast live, makes you podcast famous, helps this crazy thing survive, lets us know who's listening, every woman and guy, and it helps us feed the monkey, 'cause monkey's hungry, don't ask why. Leave a review, we'll read it on the air, every single one, we really don't care. Good, bad, weird, or slightly insane, we'll read it anyway. We're 112%, that's the Cultra way. Laugh a little louder at the end of every day. Thanks for being part of this dysfunctional family. Thanks again for hanging with us. If you have made it this far, seek professional help, and we'll see you all in a mile.